Chris Brazell, the second, went down.
As you said,
in a non-contact play, as first reported by The Athletic and confirmed to ESPN. Brazell suffered a moderate LCL tear in his left knee and is expected to be out for about 8 weeks. At Falcons camp, Tua Tagovailoa is dealing with what is being called a flare-up, and Michael Penix Jr. is still working his way back from a knee injury, which Coach Kevin Stefanski says is on schedule.
Every player, every injury you treat differently, and you treat based on the how the person's doing, the checkpoints, all those things. He's hitting every single checkpoint. So I'm very, very confident in the play.
Meanwhile, Vegas coach Clint Kubiak says Kirk Cousins will get the reps with the top unit as training camp is underway. To baseball, the Marlins beat the Phillies 8-6 to complete a 3-game sweep of their series. The Diamondbacks topped the Pirates 3-0.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, Aaron Rodgers says this season is his last. I'll tell you what success looks like for the Steelers in 2026.
So we'll do Go Look on Friday.
6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPN.
Great. That was good.
Omaha, Lincoln, and the surrounding 5-state area. This is your new afternoon routine. Handley and Hansen. On AM 590. WOW. Connect with the show at Handley and Hansen on Twitter and Instagram. Watch us live on YouTube or call the show at 531-895-0590.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll. And here we go.
Now, live from the AM 590 WOW studio, here's Nick Handley.
Well, we're waiting.
And Grant Hansen.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Oh, hello from the Windy City. It is Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW as we have hit up day number 2 of Big Ten Media Days. It is day 1 for us, 1 of 2. We'll be out here tomorrow as well as Nebraska. And, of course, other teams will hit the podium to wrap up a 3-day affair. How about an affair? You say affair, I say affair. Out here in Chi-Town where the Big Ten Media Days is back after being in Vegas a year ago. We are taking this in. For me, Grant, this is the first time in a very long time. In fact, last time I was at a Big Ten Media Days live.
Was in this building?
Was not in this building, but was in Chicago. And I didn't know what to expect. We walked in and we were, being told because everybody that has covered Big Ten Media Days and our colleagues throughout the state of Nebraska loved the setup in Indianapolis a couple of years ago. Of course, it was Vegas last year. And they were a little hesitant about the Chicago setup just because previous years when it's been in Chicago, you have the main podium and the main ballroom in one area where they do all of the coaches' interviews. And then you'd have Radio Row in some type of hallway or a completely separate room. So it's tough to get access to coaches and players, but this is actually a great setup. We got this entire ballroom, and really the only thing separating us from the main stage is a partition, and that's where Radio Row is. So here we are. You're taking this in for the first time, right?
I am.
Yeah.
This is very exciting. We've got all of the bowl trophies behind us.
Yeah, look at us.
That's sweet.
If you're watching us right now.
It's a really cool display. We're not on the side of Radio Row where we have the jerseys behind us.
No.
And look, I'm sitting here making like a housefly.
That would have been cool.
Rubbing my hands with excitement about what we're going to experience here over these next few days, and because it's freezing in here.
Yeah, that's why
we need like a dumpster or something to start a fire in and just sit there and warm ourselves up a little bit in here.
We've got 3/4 zips that are on the way. They just didn't get here in time, but
would have been a godsend.
Would have been really good. Who would have thought in the very end of July that we'd need it? But they have this ballroom nice and cool, and the bathroom. We do have to take a few elevator rides to get to the bathroom,
or
than that,
stairs if you're not old.
That's true.
Can walk, which I can. I was curious. We survived.
Whoa.
Here's the thing: we survived the early morning flight, which I booked. So. If anybody wants to throw stones at anyone, it probably should be at me. But
that was fine.
We discovered that the front row is not what it's cracked up to be.
It sucks.
Because yesterday,
it sucks.
You and I were like, oh, shoot, we're going to be sitting front row on this flight.
We're like,
this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out you can't put anything underneath your seat.
Yeah, you don't have a seat in front of
So
you.
now we're boarded group 5, which, by the way, if you thought that this 5:20 flight to Chicago wasn't going to be, it was full, completely full flight. So we're swimming upstream. I'm trying to find places for Nick's bag while there's people waiting for us. And then randomly, I've never experienced this. I've only ever experienced this when there is actually bad weather on the way. But the flight attendant was like really rushing people to get on board, which was funny because he did it randomly to this family of like, it was clearly like bleary-eyed. Everybody's in jammies. All the kids were, let's go. We got a flight time to make.
Yeah, where's the fire there,
That
buddy?
was so wild.
You got the short end of the stick, by the way. Not only did you have middle seat, but then you were the one who had to take my bag and find a place for it because I was already over at the window, and so I mean, you were a trooper, man.
I would grade myself as probably at least I would say an A to an A+ middle seat occupant. Like,
oh yeah. Great teammate.
I
great teammate.
And the type of person you want to see coming to your middle seat.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. No, great. You were a very good teammate all around.
I surrender the elbows. Generally, I try to. Like, if to me, common etiquette is you give the middle seat at least one.
And this is not a Nick and Grant, hey, we try to take care of ourselves, but we are two broad-shouldered dudes.
People have commented on that before.
And so we're next to each other. So, again, I know you guys could probably care less about our travels, but given some of the other folks from our media
and people have had some huge struggles.
Yes, they have. I was happy that we landed on time. We got here. We got here so early that we couldn't even check into our hotel. So that was fine, too. But
that was all part of the plan. And I'm glad we did get here early because we got to sort of experience just sort of the, I don't know. I mean, you just see various college football dignitaries, or at least in the case of John Fanta, who we'll have on later on in the program in about an hour, college basketball and college football dignitaries roaming around. I mean, there's a real, to use a college basketball term, palpable buzz that is associated with this event. And I know we went into the week saying, look, college football season is here. It doesn't feel like it until you're in this building and you see, oh, look, there's the Orange Bowl and, the Rose Bowl trophy. Like, it really makes it feel real for you in some serious ways. Podium today had some movers and shakers, and then, of course, we've got some movers and shakers on the show.
We do. The lineup for you today, we will be talking a good friend of the show and of ours, Mitch Sherman of The Athletic, will be joining us this hour. In fact, we're going to talk to him next. Also, as Grant mentioned, John Fanta, he will join us at the top of hour number 2, right at 3 o'clock. Had a great conversation with him. Also got a chance to catch up with the Purdue standout linebacker and Charles Correa. Also going to be talking to Fiesta Bowl CEO Eric Moses. But what is so much fun about Big Ten Media Days is you never know who might just drop right in front of us, sit down and join us live. We've got a lot of side sessions going on right now with coaches. You've got Pat Fitzgerald, who has spoken. I know that was a very much anticipated appearance by the now new Michigan State and former Northwestern head football coach. PJ Fleck was making the rounds all throughout, and that's just a ball of energy no matter where he goes. He had a lot of interesting things to say. Changed in a good way, a bad way?
Good way.
Okay.
Like, a lot of people, especially in Nebraska, don't like him, and that's because he's beaten Nebraska the last 6 times that they've played. But he's been a staple in this conference now for 10 years.
Yeah.
He's entering his 10th season, and I can tell you what, like, I vehemently disagree with him on playoff expansion, and that's something that several Big Ten coaches have been banging on the table for here this week and today, and I would assume that will continue tomorrow. But he makes that case very passionately, and he does it in such a way that it completely makes sense. And so I respect that about him. I respect his energy. I respect his quirkiness. I've and it's not just because Minnesota's not on Nebraska's schedule this year, but I've come around a little bit. He's grown on me.
Yeah, and it is Handley and Hansen, by the way. We'll give you the phone number if you want to get on the show. Anything that you want to get at that might be Big Ten Media Day relevant or otherwise, it's 531-895-0590. You can also email us. I am Nick at 590WOW.com. He is Grant at 590WOW.com. And Justice at 590WOW.com. Before we get to Mitch, by the way, we got to tell you the day of justice. You talk
Poor
about
guy.
travel issues for people making it to Chicago. Poor Justice trying to make his way into Omaha. I'm just happy that the wheels stayed on the car. We'll get Justice in here in just a moment. But you bring up something about everybody selling.
Hey, there he is. Here
the
he comes.
The 24 and Justice. I do want to get to you here, my man. The 2014 playoff proposal that a lot of Big Ten coaches are trumpeting. This is what I go back to yesterday, where I thought Tony Petitti again didn't change my view. That I think, oh, okay, now I could be on board for 24. But they make a compelling, passionate enough case that you're entertaining it, you're listening to it. You're like, okay, I understand what you're saying there. Okay, that sort of makes sense, the way that you explain it. It's like a very good, very passionate salesperson. And you go into it reluctant. You already are dead set on, I'm not going to buy this from you.
Sure.
But then they plead their case, and then they sell what they're selling to you. And then all of a sudden, you're starting to nod your head yes, nodding your head yes, and you're giving them the right type of reciprocation on what they're saying. And then at the end, they go like, okay, can I count you in? And then you say, no, but I appreciate the effort right there. That's how I felt listening to PJ Fleck. That's how I felt listening to Tony Petitti about that 24-team college football playoff. The effort is definitely there by all the gentlemen that are really advocating for this. All right, Justice, before we get to Mitch Sherman, man, you talk about sometimes people call us the case of the Mondays. You had a very wacky Wednesday.
Yeah, it was a wild Wednesday, fellas. Was driving up, was planning on getting in around 10 o'clock, getting all my stuff done, getting everything prepped for the show, getting all the audio that we had from our fantastic interviews at Big Ten Media Days. And then disaster struck. It was pouring buckets in Lincoln. I'm talking, it wasn't Noah. We didn't have to build an ark, but I was thinking about getting myself a little kayak to start swimming along the drainage lines, if you know what I'm saying. Driving along, trying to get out of Lincoln, stop at a gas station, right? Okay, I'd hit a puddle of water, wanted to get some gas. It was running low, wanted to make sure we were topped off just so I could get to Omaha. Okay. Well, I get driving along outside of Waverly, right in between Waverly and Greenwood, because I'm commuting from Lincoln to Omaha. And all of a sudden, the automatic brake system light flashes. And I'm going, oh, no.
Uh-oh.
That's never happened before. And then within 2 seconds, boom, all the electrical shuts down. No dials. Everything goes to zero. But I can still drive the car, right? So I'm just babying this thing along. I'm pressing the gas, getting it a little bit further along. Come to a truck weigh station, a little eastbound weigh station outside of Waverly. Just pull over right there, try to get off to the side in the grass, and then just turn the car off, put it in park. And after that sucker did not start up. So we were in trouble. But we managed to get enough juice to pull it into the parking lot, wait there, get a tow truck, get it moved up, get a ride over, and then make it in time to get the show on the air. But it has been one heck of a Wednesday, fellas. I'll tell you that much. But we persevere. We continue on.
We're starting a GoFundMe for Justice.
Would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, we weren't sure. We're going to have Justice.
Have a substitute producer today.
Either that or we're going to have him. I mean, I'm not going to be home today. You could have stayed at my house out in Bennington.
Now you just committed Jenny to go pick him up.
Yeah, then that means and you'd have to
or
put
you're
up.
Gonna walk.
You'd get the dozens of stories of Reese's day at daycare as well. So I feel like you'd have to endure some stuff, but mi casa su casa. So there you go. Again, coming up, we're going to be talking to Mitch Sherman of The Athletic. Mitch was here yesterday. So he's been in this from day one at Big Ten Media Days. Good energy though, and look, you can tell, Grant, that there's a lot of pumping and puffing of the chest when it comes to this conference, and not just for some of the coaches that spoke today, like guys like Dan Lanning that have a more than legitimate chance at a national championship, or Ryan Day, who just won a national championship 2 years ago. And then you look at the return of Pat Fitzgerald. You look at PJ Fleck, as we mentioned, that is never short of energy or confidence, but just the overall feel. This conference feels like it, after last year and what it continues to show on the national championship stage, that there's a swagger with this conference. And I think it trickles down to even the coaches that we could at least on paper put in the category not in contention this year.
Well, and it's interesting too, especially if you sort of combine the narratives of the Big Ten wanting playoff expansion with the campaign that our middle class is just as strong as the SEC's.
Right.
Those two things go hand in hand. And by the way, who are the coaches out there right now, at least to this point, that have campaigned the hardest for that 2014 playoff? Well, it was Kirk Ferentz yesterday, who was stepping out in a way that we rarely see him do. Pat Fitzgerald, perhaps in that category. Certainly PJ Fleck. I mean, all those teams, where are they? Michigan State's in the lower side of things right now, but I can tell you, if Pat Fitzgerald gets the resources he needs there, with the reputation he has as a head coach, they'll be right there in the middle class very soon, if not higher. Certainly that's where Minnesota has been a valiant example of consistency. And I don't know what else you could call Iowa over these last few years. And we discussed at length yesterday.
Well, they've been on the doorstep
how close
of 12.
Iowa was.
Exactly.
They would almost certainly be in every year with 24 and a chance to prove their mettle. So I think those things go together. And when people think about the message and the overall takeaway from this week at Big Ten Media Days, I don't think you can separate those two things.
I think the biggest part of this is the fact that they have the platform where it's one thing to talk about this expanded playoff of 24 or talk about even different type of college athletics legislation. But this is what the SEC had for so long, where when they spoke and Greg Sankey or any coaches in the SEC spoke, everybody would listen in the college football world because they had that clout. Big Ten, I don't want to say they finally have it. They were always being heard, but now they feel like they've got the stage and maybe a leg up on the SEC based on what they've done on the football field. And so you can try to drive that home. It goes back to what I was talking about. You're at least going to get people to listen and entertain the thought, as opposed to when it was originally offered up maybe about a year ago, people were just thumbing their nose at me like, this is ridiculous. And again, I'm not trying to sit here and say that all of a sudden I'm team 24 or you're team 24. But
I'm not.
But people are listening because all of these coaches are coming out unified, but they have that platform because people know how serious the Big Ten is. And they know that they are one of the major power brokers and they have the competition results to back that up. I think that goes a long way.
When we're talking about the teams that got left out last year, Texas, Vanderbilt, that's where people come to, right? BYU, Texas, Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, the teams that were on the outside looking in. What the Big Ten saying is, look, didn't Iowa just beat Vanderbilt in the bowl game?
Right.
If that's your middle class, our middle class is right there with yours, and they deserve a shot. That's the argument being made this week.
No doubt. Coming up, and we got a busy show, as we mentioned. We're going to get things rolling here in hour number one, live from Big Ten Media Days at the Chicago Hilton here right off of Michigan Avenue, the home of Lollapalooza just across the street as well, which gets underway tomorrow. But Mitch Sherman is going to talk all things, not only Big Ten, but also give an early take on what he expects from Matt Rule and company tomorrow when they make their way out here to Chicago. As we get things fired up here on a Wednesday, live from Chicago at Big Ten Media Days, it's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Register to win a whole house generator from AM 590 WOW and Generators for Sale with the Generac Power Play giveaway. Log on to 590WOW.com and tell us what you want to protect when the power goes out, and you'll be registered to win a whole house generator installed at your home, valued at nearly $15,000. There's other great prizes too, like a portable generator and smart home devices. Don't be left in the dark. Register today and see contest rules at 590WOW.com.
In July, fun takes flight at Blackbird Bend Casino. We're celebrating the 34th anniversary of the Omaha Tribe's entry into the gaming industry by giving away $48,000 on Friday, July 31st. Every 10 minutes, a guest will win $500 in cash. At 10 p.m., two guests will win $1,000 each, and one lucky patron will walk away with $34,000. Claim one free entry for the drawings daily on our kiosk and start earning additional entries now. Great gaming, delicious food, and friendly service are just around the bend at Blackbird Bend Casino near Ottawa, Iowa.
Tired of aches slowing you down? 42 Degrees supports everyday wellness with trained, approachable staff and clear guidance on comfort-focused options. No guessing, no pressure. Learn more at 42degrees.com. Trusted by Mom.
Superior Honda of Omaha has immediate openings for highly motivated new and used car sales professionals. High volume, great benefits, incredible support. Apply online at HondaofOmaha.com or call Eric Curtis at 402-612-9126.
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. At VRX, we take the time to get your medications organized, simplified, and tailored to you. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, except all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
Hi, my name is Ty, and I recently was told that I needed to get a new roof by 2 different contractors. I was freaking out considering that my roof wasn't even that old, but I saw a commercial on Roof Max, and I gave them a call and have them come out and look at the roof. They came out, they said I was eligible for the Roof Max product that actually rejuvenated the shingles and makes my roof look like it's a brand new roof that was just recently put on. I would recommend Roof Max to anyone.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
With school just around the corner, don't forget to buy Nordic Naturals DHA products. DHA is essential for normal brain and eye development, and it may help attention, behavior, and reading. And these supplements are on sale the whole month of August at no-name nutrition markets. Available in capsules, gummies, and liquid form.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
That rumble you just heard? Don't panic. It's not your engine. It's your stomach, and it knows exactly what it wants. Wing Haven in Millard is making wings the right way. Every sauce scratch-made, and they keep getting better. Feeling brave? Go Dragonfire. Want to live on the edge? Try the Haven sauce of hell. Not ready for all that? Get them naked. Or go garlic parmesan, and thank yourself later. Bone-in, boneless, loaded fries, or satisfy that sweet tooth with any of their refreshers or hot churro bites or donuts. Open every day till 11 at 138th and P. Wing Haven. Run for wings.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
Handley and Hansen here back at Big Ten Media Days, today AM 590 WOW, as we continue to get a chance to see not only coaches and players here in day number 2 of Big Ten Media Days, but also familiar faces. Always good to see familiar faces, and a guy that we, of course, have talked to for many, many years. Well, maybe not many, many years for you, Grant.
Well, several years.
That would bring you back to
I'd give it several.
12 years or so.
Not as long as you.
I could say the debut of The Drive with myself and Joe Quinn, one of our not only original guests, but a guy who always was kind with his time is Mitch Sherman, which at the time I believe was with ESPN.
Probably, yeah. If it was in the range of 2011 to 18.
Right.
Yeah.
It was, and you were not only covering college football, which you were doing a lot on the Nebraska beat, and whether it was Big 12, Big 10, but also there'd be the occasional college basketball story that you had to cover. You were always on the Husky baseball. Yep, still doing all that. So
volleyball, we take care of everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, you're a jack of all trades. I know you're heavy on baseball this year as well. So, but Mitch Sherman from The Athletic joining us here at Big Ten Media Days. It's always kind of interesting to be here in Chicago with this. And I know it always felt like kind of the Big Ten hub, but now we've seen it out in Vegas. We've seen it out in Indy.
Where next?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are they going to go?
What's been your favorite one so far, now that you've experienced every city that the Big Ten claims as, one of their spots?
Well, I don't know that we've been to every city. I mean, you could put this in
LA.
You could put this in New York. You could put it in LA. You could put it in DC or Minneapolis. Put it in Omaha. Omaha's a nice anchor for the Big Ten, right? We could put the baseball tournament and all of that. I love Chicago. I like being at this venue right here at the Hilton, right on Michigan Avenue. You can walk out of the Big Ten Media Days and be right at Grant Park. It's great for like walkability, and went out on the lakeshore this morning, and so that's good from a personal perspective. And I think the question is about where do I personally prefer it?
Because you had Vegas. You had Vegas last year.
Vegas was fine. It was 110 degrees. It was nice. Vegas offers up an entirely different set of options and opportunities of things to do when you're not interviewing coaches and players. So I don't know that I would want it there every year. I was just in Vegas a couple of weeks ago for some meetings with my company, with The Athletic. All of our college staff got together. So I got my fix in July, enough Vegas. So I'm glad it's not there this year. Generally, I would say that Chicago is easy geographically and from a transportation standpoint. Although I did not experience that this week because of the weather that was attacking the city of Chicago on Monday. That made my 1 hour flight.
Yeah, I was going to
9
ask
hours.
you scale of I don't know 1 to the Odyssey. How would you rate your trip on Monday?
Well, it wasn't the Odyssey, that's for sure. I made it. I was in this hotel by 9 o'clock at night. The problem with that statement is that I left my house at 9 o'clock in the morning in Omaha, and I wasn't driving. It was a flight. We could have taken the plane and driven it off the runway at Handley, driven it over through Iowa on I-80. I'm not sure how that would have worked, and made it to Chicago in a faster amount of time than it took to get diverted. The nonstop flight that took 9 hours between Omaha and Chicago. I won't forget it soon, but I made it, and I didn't miss any interviews, and I didn't ever get any flights canceled. So, it's part of the deal. It's fine. I know other people had issues as well. Didn't lose any luggage, so I'm not complaining. And I'm here. I was here yesterday for day one, and looking forward to seeing the real big dogs, Ohio State and Oregon, up on the main stage today. And then you got Nebraska, Michigan, Indiana, and lots of interesting stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, day two with a lot of heavy hitters. And I want to get into sort of that Nebraska preview here in a moment. But going back to yesterday, we were talking about this on the show with just between the remarks of Tony Petitti talking about, from the 24-team college football playoff, a little bit of obviously not a little bit, but a lot of the unknown still with the Protect College Sports Act. But then I thought it was interesting hearing Kirk Ferentz also kind of double down on the 24-team playoff. Yeah. Were you surprised what we're kind of hearing? It seems like there are, I wouldn't say a unified front, but there are maybe more coaches that are advocating for that larger pool in the playoff.
Not surprised because we've had several months now to hear this from the Big Ten. I think when this conversation first came out, it may have been around media days last year. I know there was talk of expanding the playoff last year at Big Ten Media Days in Las Vegas. If they had settled on 24 as a proposal at that time, I can't exactly remember. But when I first heard that, it seemed comical. Yeah. Like you just went to 12. You were at 4. Double to 12. You want to go to 20. I mean, 24 is a lot. And but the shock value, I think, of that has worn off. And I think we all understand that there are 64, 65 teams in the Power Four, plus Notre Dame. And you don't want to put a quarter of them, a third of them, actually a little more than a third of them into a postseason pot and have them compete for a title. I mean, you're going to take things away from the regular season. Obviously, You're going to lose your conference championship games, which I don't know that breaks a lot of hearts. It's sure going to be fun. It would sure be fun. I don't want to say it's going to be because we're far from being at the place where the 24-team playoff is a reality, but it's a lot more digestible, I would say. I'm not trying to toe the party line of the Big Ten. It's just I think we've had time to kind of hear this and understand this is not just a bargaining chip for the Big Ten. I think at first it seemed like that. It's like the Big Ten wants to be different from the SEC. The Big Ten wants something else from the SEC. So it's putting this 24-team playoff out there as a proposal, knowing that that's not a reality and the SEC can then give in on. That's not what this is. Like the Big Ten really legitimately wants this. Yeah. And I think with coaches like Ferentz, and I heard Brett Bielema talking about the 24-team playoff yesterday as well. I think they legitimately have decided to get in line behind their conference commissioner and support this. I don't know that I agree with all their talking points. I'm not quite sold on myself being a supporter of that. The good thing is I don't have to support either way. I'm kind of a bystander here. I'll watch, I'll be involved, I'll cover whatever it is that they put out there. I'm fine with it at 12. I'd be okay with it at 16. If it goes to 24, I'm not going to lose interest. But, yeah, the Big Ten seems to legitimately be backing this and not just using it as a tool to get something else.
Let's talk Nebraska for a bit. Kind of a two-parter here. Front end, what clarification do you think we get on the running back situation tomorrow?
I don't know. I guess that's why there's a lot of value in having Matt Rule actually come to this event and talk, because he hasn't done a whole lot of that in the offseason, and spring was early this year. So it's been an especially long time since there's been a whole lot of actual conversation from the head coach about this Nebraska football team. Once or twice he's popped up and done an interview. I know he talked to a group of reporters. I was there on the day that Troy Dannon announced the stadium expansion renovation project, not expansion, renovation. Expansion Devaney Center.
Quite the opposite, actually.
Renovation Memorial Stadium.
It's tough to keep tabs on all this.
I think we'll get some clarification. Obviously, he is going to get asked about Mekhi Nelson probably when he's at the main podium leading things off at 11 a.m. tomorrow. I'm sure he'll go more in depth about whatever the situation is there, if there's a situation there.
Yeah.
It's not a legal situation,
right.
but is there a team situation? I don't know. And then, elsewhere at running back, Nebraska has not announced. Nebraska has not officially added Tyke Hayes to the roster, the former Penn State back who spent the spring at Iowa Western Community College, but the expectation is that he's coming and he'll be a part of things next week when Nebraska opens camp. But I'm not even certain if Rule will be able to address that yet, because this isn't a time where you necessarily sign. Maybe as a junior college athlete, I don't even in today's world of how everything changes with roster construction, I'm not certain if there was paperwork for him to even sign in the month of July, or if he just comes to camp and reports next Monday, Tuesday, and then he's part of the program. So we may or may not be able to hear from the head coach about Tyke Hayes, but that is looming as an addition to this running back room, whether Rule can talk about him on Thursday or not. And it changes the complexion of it a bit. I put him outside of the top 3 when this thing all breaks down, but maybe he's a big surprise. Maybe he comes in great shape and he picks up right where he left off as a high school 4-star prospect out of Pennsylvania who was expected to be somebody that was going to help Penn State down the road when their great backs from a year ago left the program.
And I know a lot of other folks, whether people listening to the show, people that read your articles on The Athletic, and just fans out there, it's an interesting time to have Big Ten Media Days as it pertains to Nebraska, because remember a year ago in Vegas, it was almost kind of fitting that, in a big city like that where there's so much going on, that, Matt Rule and that group came in feeling pretty damn confident about what that season was going to look like. This year, that noise is, that volume's cranked down when it comes to the expectations. When you look at this 2016, it is. It's very muted. And I've said that maybe that's a good thing for this program. Maybe that's a good thing for Matt Rule to be able to have him, his staff, and his guys just have their head down and doing the work. And he's really played to that tone. What do you think is the most interesting appeal about Nebraska's presence tomorrow at the Big Ten Media Days, given all of that we just talked about?
Yeah, I've got a piece that'll be out later on Wednesday or Thursday morning on The Athletic. And this is more for it's for anybody who's part of the Nebraska football audience. But I wrote it from the perspective of people who've just kind of tuned this thing out since the Las Vegas Bowl. Maybe you had enough. Maybe you saw those 3 blowouts at the end of the season. And you said, I'm shutting this thing down. I don't want to hear from the head coach. I think there's people who've taken that tact. I appreciate people who pay attention all year round. I'm sure you guys do as well.
And they do, whether they admit it or not.
Right. But, I do think there are some people who have muted the volume. And, I went through what I saw as the 4 or 5 most interesting things that happened this offseason. Like, here, catch up on Nebraska's coaching reconstruction. That's part of it. I think there's because that happened so early in the offseason, I'd probably answer your question that way. Like what's going, what's if this isn't a topic and it's not important in coming up with the talking points for Matt Rule and how he answers questions and steering his answers back to just the importance of having the coaching staff in a good place, then I think they've missed it a little bit. Like we don't forget, but we overlook, I think, sometimes that as soon as the season ended last year, the regular season, Nebraska got rid of its defensive coordinator, Nebraska got rid of its offensive line coach, and its defensive line coach. Yeah. That's a significant change. And then several weeks later, it lost the special teams coordinator, Mike Eckler, who went to USC. So they've had a lot of you got Rob Orich, you got Jeep Wade. Those are the 2 big names that came in the offseason, but there's defensive position coaches all over the defense. You got an assistant in Ani Teasley who is helping with the offensive line. You got special teams coordinator and assistant coach who are elevated into new spots this year. They've had 7 months, 6 months in some cases to get on the same page. But I think that the tone of this team and like the way that Nebraska is able to start in September, the first 3 weeks of September, I think are important. There are games that Nebraska is expected to win in handily, But I think Nebraska's they got to get ready. They got to get ready for what's coming after those 3 games in that stretch. And it's not just about putting up W's. Like they have to they've got 9 after that where there are really no gimmies, and they need to be in a place that's conducive to playing well, starting on they play well all year, but like perform starting on September 26th. And I think the changes that he's made to his coaching staff and all of the adjustments that come with that, they need to manage this, and they need to have managed this over the last 6 months smoothly in order to make that work.
You touched on something earlier I want to circle back on with sort of the pub that Rob Orich and Jeep Wade have had. 2 guys have flown under the radar on the defensive side of the ball in Roy Manning and Corey Brown. I don't know how many Nebraska fans, I'm sure there's quite a few, but I would venture to guess that the vast majority of Nebraska fans probably don't think of those guys and maybe can't even name them right off rip. What's your read on those 2 guys and what they bring to the table this year?
I don't have a great read on them yet. And I throw Tyler Yelk, the safeties coach, into that same category. I don't have a great read on them. I mean, Manning probably have a better read than the other 2, because I did hear him, do an interview in the spring, was there for that, and was really impressed with his ability to communicate. And I think that translates to his players. It translates to recruiting. It translates to, all aspects of what he's asked to do in his job. So, and he's experienced, he's been Michigan, USC. So he knows the level of play that needs to take place for Nebraska to have a successful group of edge rushers. The others we'll see. I don't know. Looking forward to being able to see Nebraska practice in the month of August and watch those guys do a little bit of work. But the defensive staff and the way that it all comes together under Orich, and I think a good thing with the new assistants is they've worked for Rob Orich. Yeah. So there's going to be, you're bringing Phil Simpson and Rob Dvorak and Addison Williams like into this fold with Orich's defense. But there's a structure there that's worked, and coaches there who've had success in running it. So that's it's a positive sign. It's something that Nebraska has in its as a points in a good direction defensively for them. But the jury's still out for me. I don't know what to think of Corey Brown and Tyler Yelk at this point.
It's Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. We're talking to Mitch Sherman of The Athletic. Mitch, just a couple more minutes with you. Appreciate you spending time with us today. I know just because it's always the popular thing, and we've always had some interesting storylines over the last decade when it comes to the quarterback situation, but Nebraska's going through a change after 2 years of Dylan Raiola, and we think about this time a year ago, that was part of the excitement, was year 2 with Dylan Raiola. Now it's a different type of excitement, but I think a lot of fans are not sure what to expect out of Anthony Calandria, because there have been some very, like, the highest of highs, but then there's been that propensity to make some of those big mistakes as well. When you think of the overall Anthony Calandria experience, what we could maybe be in store for here in this upcoming fall, what comes to mind?
I don't think we're going to see a guy who's reckless with the football. You can look at some of the issues that he had with turnovers, especially in his time at Virginia. And I think it's easy to just kind of say, all right, that's going to translate in this certain way, and it's going to look like this at Nebraska. But like the pieces around him are different. He's more mature. He's been through that. I think he's learned from it. I think he recognizes like what kind of challenges that the Big Ten defenses are going to pose for him. I think he's got an opportunity, maybe unlike Jeff Sims a few years ago, where he started with Minnesota and Colorado. That's a tough comparison to make for Calandria. Yeah. Sims had all kinds of turnover issues, but the turnover thing does come up with Calandria, so it's worth bringing up. Like he doesn't have a start to the season like that. Maybe it would have been different for Sims. We've seen him have some success in his post-Nebraska time. Maybe it would have been different for him if he didn't go to Minnesota and Matt Rule's first game as a head coach, and then go to Colorado, with that circus that Deion Sanders brought to town that in that time. It might have been different if he had a different type of runway. And Calandria does have a much different runway than what we saw with Sims. And I don't think they're necessarily the same type of players or similar players, or even are in position to put up the same kind of numbers. But experience, maturity, pieces around him. This is the 4th year for Matt Rule. I think Dana Holgerson's influence, Glenn Thomas's influence, are all things that point in a direction of like having stability from the quarterback spot, and having somebody who can lead and is in a position to run this offense the way that they want him to run it. The biggest question I have with Calandria is not necessarily about turnovers. It's about his durability to hold up in this offense and what they're going to ask him to do with the amount of time that he may be carrying the ball as a runner.
Well, Mitch, I appreciate you joining us, man. I hope your trip back is maybe a little bit smoother.
I hope so too. Yeah, that would be a bummer if we get a similar
What?
deal.
So, are you out Thursday night?
Yeah, I'm out Thursday night.
Midway?
I am. Yes.
What time?
9 a.m.
9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Am I on your flight?
I think we are. I think so far it's you. I think
you,
Damon
us,
Benning
and
is. I'm sure we're probably not alone either. I think there's probably more.
It's going to be the media flight.
I think it's going to be the media flight. So let's all cross our fingers. No delays.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to be good.
Or I'll turn up in the bar.
I think you took one for the team getting out here for all of us.
I've had now 2 consecutive trips out of Omaha where I've had that happen. I maybe gone years without being on a plane where the pilot came on and said, "Hey, we're going to take a turn here because there are storms on the ground at our scheduled landing spot." So that's happened twice to me in the month of July, where I landed at an airport that I was not supposed to land at.
It was, we diverted during Supernova season. We were going to Chicago. We diverted to Cincinnati, and there happened to be like 10 people on our plane that were going to Cincinnati anyway. They got a direct flight to Cincinnati
There you go.
out of it. So, it's not all bad for people, but
I hope they let them get off.
Yes, they did.
See, and I know you're a fan of fine cinema. It just reminds me of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
You're like, we're in Wichita. Like, I'm just waiting for your flight to get diverted to Wichita. So hopefully we're not all going to Wichita tomorrow night. But Mitch, always great stuff. Always great catching up with you. Hopefully we can do it throughout the season, man.
Yeah, good to talk to you guys. Congrats on the new show.
Appreciate it. That's Mitch Sherman with The Athletic here live from Big Ten Media Days. We got more coming up right after this. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW. Don't go anywhere.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army 7 Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Jack Swanda for Gorilla Car Wash. High-pressure soapy water. It's touchless. Jeff Ballinger here. What is that falling from the sky?
Jack, it looks like rain. And I've had some of my really good friends say to me, Jeff, I'll just let the rain wash my car. And I said, really? With the bird droppings and the other things from the tree? We know that's not how it works.
It does not clean itself. That's why you need to go to Gorilla Car Wash. Absolutely touchless, open 24/7. Find those 8 locations where?
GorillaWash.com.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades. Voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
My name is Christy. They painted our whole house and they did some soffit work for us. I would highly recommend Kim. She is fantastic. She has a great eye for detail. Her crew was wonderful. Everything was clean when they left, and it was fantastic.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Give your family the gift of peace of mind by pre-planning your funeral arrangements today. At Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, their caring staff is dedicated to helping you make your wishes known in advance, easing emotional burdens and reducing uncertainty during a difficult time. With flexible funding options and affordable rates, Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services is here to help you plan with confidence and care. Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, 2 Omaha locations or online at gsfuneral.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Back with you here at Big Ten Media Days in Chicago. Glad to be along with you on AM 590 WOW. Number to get a hold of us, 531-895-0590. Of course, you could tweet at us at 590 WOW or at our personal Twitter accounts at Hansen, not Hansen, HANSEN, not HANSON, and Nick Handley at Nick Handley OMA. We
gotta get you a shorter Twitter handle there, my friend.
No. You
explained it so well, though.
I mean, it's pretty simple.
You rattled it out.
Spell the name right.
Ben Stevens would be very proud of you.
Thank you. Although you're talking on his behalf. Okay, one little bit of news from our last guest, Mitch Sherman, just putting this out a short while ago. Nebraska football will not pursue a financial arrangement in 2026 to wear a jersey patch similar to the deals announced Tuesday by Ohio State with JP Chase for $17 million and Notre Dame with SoFi for $18 to $20 million. So a little bit of a surprise there. I think, at least for me, we'll see how things develop in the years ahead. I think it's something that, look, it's unavoidable. It's going to happen at some point, but for at least one more year, Nebraska football will not have a jersey patch.
So we walked by, we saw it with our own eyes, the JP Morgan Chase on Ohio State, and then we also saw the Culver's one. Why does everybody defer to Runza when it comes to Nebraska?
So here's the thing. I thought about this earlier today. This is the best part about this whole thing for Runza.
Yeah.
They're getting more free pub and run out of this because, look, whether they can afford to be the jersey patch or not, they are the first business that everybody thinks of.
This is what I love about it, though, is everybody is deciding what Runza's budget is. They're like, I don't know if they got the marketing budget for that. I mean, Runza would make sense, but I don't know if they have the marketing budget. Yeah, let Runza answer that question. Who are we to say what kind of marketing budget they have to be a logo patch? But as Graham mentioned, you're going to have to wait at least until next year when that gets revisited, for sure. All right, we're going to step aside and take another quick break. When we return, we are going to be talking to the Peach Bowl CEO, David Epps. Obviously, the semifinal of last year's college football playoff took place between two Big Ten teams that are also in contention for a title. Some great things that are being done by the Peach Bowl on top of just the game itself. We're going to be talking to David Epps right after this here on Handley and Hansen. It's AM 590 WOW.
Have you ever heard of lion's mane mushrooms? It's a mushroom that looks like a brain, and the supplement supports memory that may help with anxiety or depression. Also contains antioxidants and fiber that can support gut and immune health. Capsules of lion's mane are on sale all this month at both No Name Nutrition markets.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
Jack Swanda for Gorilla Car Wash. Jeff Ballinger here. Hey, you know what's great about Gorilla Car Wash? It's not a conga line.
That's right, Jack. That's one place you don't want to be in a car wash when those conveyorized motors step up and all of a sudden something stops. At Gorilla Car Wash, you're in control. We're open 24/7.
Hey, what happens to your wiper blades?
They stay on at Gorilla Car Wash.
How about the license plates?
Still there, my friend.
It's Gorilla Car Wash. 8 locations. Find them at
GorillaWash.com.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army 7 Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's convenience stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
There's never a good time for a garage door to quit. Stuck halfway, loud as a freight train, or just done. When it happens, go to Langfeld Overhead Door. 25 years fixing and installing doors all over Omaha. Free estimates, and they get out to you fast. New opener, broken spring, or a full replacement, one call handles it. Request service now at langfelddoors.com. That's langfelddoors.com. Get it working right.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately? We may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deer's Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at deersford.com. Fremont's best award-winning dealership. Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
With school just around the corner, don't forget to buy Nordic Naturals DHA products. DHA is essential for normal brain and eye development, and it may help attention, behavior, and reading. And these supplements are on sale the whole month of August at No Name Nutrition Markets. Available in capsules, gummies, and liquid form.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Here's your updated Metro weather outlook. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with a slight chance of thunderstorms. High of 93. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Tonight, lows around 71. Right now, it's 89 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki, and that's your updated Metro weather on AM 590 WOW. Online at 590WOW.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
And we are live from Big Ten Media Days out here in Chicago. It is Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW. Wrapping up hour number 1 here in our first day of Big Ten Media Days. It's day number 2 on the 3-day event. And when you think of Big Ten, you think of some very high-level competition. You think of whether it's the still very prominent bowl games, or as we talk about the college football playoff, which has been a huge part of this discussion in the last 2 days. And I'm sure it'll carry into tomorrow when we talk to the folks from Nebraska and all the other coaches and student athletes that are going to be going tomorrow. Very excited to be talking to one of those very prestigious bowl games and also a big part of the college football playoff. Last year's college football semifinal between Indiana and Oregon. We're very happy to be joined here at our table with the CEO of the Peach Bowl, and that is Mr. David Epps. David, thank you so much for joining us. How's it been in Chicago for you so far?
I tell you, fantastic. Anytime I can sit around and talk college football, it's a good day.
Yeah.
So today is a good day.
Some of the numbers that you guys provided us with, I mean, is staggering as far as not only the popularity of college football, especially as it plays out at the Peach Bowl, but the type of money, the economic impact. When I look at the number of the total all-time economic impact of $997.4 million, that to me, I mean, we could talk about stats from between Oregon and Indiana, the game stats, but as far as those type of numbers that we don't get a chance to talk about a lot, this is stuff that we love to hear about because we just don't learn about this stuff a lot.
Yeah, people want to talk about money and profitability like it's a zero-sum game. Like if somebody makes money on the other side, there are a bunch of people losing out on something. In our case, in Atlanta, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, we're able to use college football to benefit our community, to generate that economic impact. The positive side of that is the experience it provides for the coaches, players, fans, media, all that. So part of the reason we're in existence was to create that kind of impact on our community. I mean, we were started by a charity in 1968. So our whole reason for existence was to raise money for eye care and eyewear for those who couldn't afford it.
Okay.
And between 1968 and now, you mentioned the number of economic impact. That's real economic impact on the state of Georgia. And then even beyond that, we've generated $72 million in scholarship and charitable donations. So we like to say that, if we do well, we can do good in our community. And so it's a big story that I think we just don't need to get caught up in. If there's money attached, there's also a downside to it. We're hoping to continue to prove that we can do college football and use it for the greater good.
The number that jumped out to me was the attendance. Nebraska fans know a thing or two about sellouts, and the Peach Bowl has been a sellout in 26 of the last 29 years. 3.45 million people all time have attended this. We've gone further down the line, and everything seems to change all the time in college football. What's been the challenge for you guys, if there has been one at all, in keeping those numbers to that high standard?
Yeah, it's a better question than you even realize, because we were ACC, SEC for so very long, probably from about 90, 91 through 2013. And when you have regional team tie-ins like that, obviously almost everybody's within a 2-3 hour car drive.
Yeah.
2014, we get into the CFP. Our first matchup is Ole Miss and TCU. And so it's a different world for us, where all of a sudden you're saying, hey, we're playing with the big boys now, but it also means you've got some regionality issues. But the strength of what Atlanta has is we're within a 2-hour flight of 80% of the population of the United States. We all know the footprint of what college football is when you look at the eastern half of the United States. And so the ease of travel, we're one of the 2 or 3 cities that I think from a fan standpoint, easy to get to. Once you get to your hotel, you don't have to get an Uber or a taxi. You can walk everywhere you want to. The fan experience at Mercedes-Benz Stadium is amazing, right down to the fact that Arthur Blank does fan-friendly pricing, so you can get a refillable Coke for $2.50 and a hot dog for $3 and feed a family of 4 for 20. So
that's music to a lot of people's ears.
It is, and that helps with our attendance. Is that we're a fun, easy place to get to, and we like to think that we deliver on the fan experience.
I know you're going to be kind enough to stick around here for a little bit after we hit our top of the hour break, but real quickly before we do so, here with about another minute before we do that top of the hour break, when you think about the 30 plus years for you being involved with it, how amazing has it been to see not only your relationship with college football, but just the prestigiousness of this bowl grow and grow, as you mentioned, getting as a part of the college football playoff format too.
Oh man, it's a passion project for me. I'm a native Atlantan, and Atlanta's undergone so much growth over the past 30 or 40 years. And so this has always sort of been a little engine that could story. I mean, for so long, I always say we were a punchline in the college football bowl space. And so what we've been able to do is it's a pride point for me, having to be as an Atlantan, actually being able to be part of it and see what we've been able to do and create. And it's rewarding. It's rewarding personally, but it's also really rewarding professionally, because it's when you can go to bed and know you're actually creating some good with what you're doing for a living. It changes your perspective in a great way.
Yeah, no doubt. David Epps, he is the CEO of the Peach Bowl. He's going to join us on the other side of the break. Also, we got a busy hour number 2 here. Hour 2 of Big Ten Media Days in Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. We're going to have John Fanta joining us as well. We'll also be hearing from one of the student athletes represented here, is kind enough to join us. Charles Correa, linebacker, standout with University of Purdue. And you never know who might drop by as well. This is what we love, being here live on Radio Row. It is great stuff. But don't go anywhere. We're going to continue our conversation with David Epps. He is the CEO of the Peach Bowl, right after our top of the hour Sports Center. It's Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. We're right back after this. Thanks.
The legend has returned. Sports Talk Huskers. AM 590 WOW. Omaha. Sports Center.
I'm Ed Bank, and we start with news from training camp on the injury front. Panthers rookie wide receiver Chris Brazzell II went down in practice today. As first reported by The Athletic and confirmed by ESPN, Brazzell suffered a moderate LCL tear in his left knee and is expected to be out for 8 weeks. Bengals defensive end Shamar Stewart was carted off the field during practice after suffering a left leg injury. Saints defensive lineman Brian Brzee suffered a knee injury, which is feared to be a torn ACL. Meanwhile, at Bengals camp, Joe Burrow says his foot is healed and he will be ready to go for the season after dealing with injuries last year.
The foot feels great. I'll play with protecting it for the rest of my career, just because why not? I don't want it to happen again, but it feels good.
Also, quarterback news, Vegas coach Clint Kubiak says Kirk Cousins will start camp taking reps with the top unit. In baseball, the Marlins were down 6-0. They rallied to beat the Phillies 8-6 to complete a 3-game sweep of their series. First of a day-night doubleheader, the Mets topped the Braves 3-2. Diamondbacks over the Pirates 3-0. Arizona second in the NL wild card.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Controlled Comfort keeps it under control.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Hi, my name is Ty, and I recently was told that I needed to get a new roof by 2 different contractors. I was freaking out considering that my roof wasn't even that old, but I saw a commercial on Roof Max, and I gave them a call and have them come out and look at the roof. They came out, they said I was eligible for the Roof Max product that actually rejuvenated the shingles and makes my roof look like it's a brand new roof that was just recently put on. I would recommend Roof Max to anyone.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741. If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
Kim from Jill of All Trades impressed me so much with our office renovation that I had to bring her out to my house. She transformed our backyard with new concrete patio, composite steps, and an amazing pergola. It's rare to find someone you trust with your business and your home, but Kim has earned that trust. She truly is a Jill of All Trades.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Welcome to Hour 2 on a Wednesday from Big Ten Media Days. Grant Hansen, Nick Handley, and David Epps is kind enough to join us. Stick with us during the break, and we had some great, pleasant conversation. CEO of the Peach Bowl. David, I'm curious, because the Peach Bowl happens once a year. So there could be some people that ask, well, what does he do for the rest of the year? I think you keep yourself pretty busy, but lay that out for folks. Like, what all do you guys have to do to get the Peach Bowl ready to go and college football playoff ready?
Yeah, it seems hard to believe. When I first started working in this industry in 1994, my wife would always joke and say, should I tell my friends who ask that you just basically read the sports page all day? I said, oh, if that were only true.
Yeah.
Sports events have become such detailed, multi-leveled, multifaceted experiences that there once probably was a time when you said, what do you need? You need a football, and you need a couple of refs and a scoreboard in the stadium. But, the fan expectation now, the media's needs, there's so many details that we're planning for the 2027 game before we've even played the 2026 game. And it's details as small as what is the media day going to look like when the two teams arrive? And we're selling sponsorships for a year and a half from now. And at the end of the day, it's all about driving revenue and helping support the college football postseason enterprise. But you'd never believe it. If you didn't do it every day, you'd find it hard to believe that there's as much that goes into putting on a single major event like this as it does.
For people that have kind of readjusted how they view, still call them bowl games, but when they're part of the college football playoff, we just think of them as the quarterfinals or the semifinals or the national championship game. This year, Peach Bowl will be a quarterfinals, a semifinal last year in the national championship. But it doesn't change the type of product you guys put out, right? It's always, whether it's in the quarterfinals, semifinals, national championship, it's always going to be that same first-rate product, I assume.
That's exactly right. We've always sort of prided ourselves, even when we were outside of the BCS, outside of the CFP. I always like to say we punched above our weight, and we've always aspired. It's the old idea of, dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. And we always tried to dress for the job we want, and that meant that we held ourselves to a national championship standard when it came to everything. Coaches, players, conferences, media, fan. And I think that really helped us so that no matter what you come to the bowl for, quarterfinal, non-quarterfinal, semi, you're going to get the same level of experience. We're going to try to deliver a national championship caliber experience, no matter who if you're a member of the media and you come to our game, we want you to walk away from that going, man, that was better than when I went to the championship game a few years ago. So it's just the approach we take. We're a service industry in a lot of ways and a sports entertainment company. So, you take care of your customers, bottom line, and make sure that they leave thinking you're the best. That's how we operate every day.
I was texting, or rather talking with you earlier, just where does the Peach Bowl sit, or where do you sit perhaps on playoff expansion and the Peach Bowl's place in it?
Yeah, I wish we had a vote. But, I am a fan first, and I'll never stop being a fan. And so I try to keep that filter in my back pocket. The reality to us is, if it were to go to 24, again, we don't know anything you guys don't know.
Sure.
Presumably, they talked about the first 8 getting buys and adding a first round. So if that happened, ultimately the 6 of us that are playoff bowls end up in the same place, right? 4 of us are quarters, and then 2 of us are semis. And if it stays at 12, it's the same thing. What may alter is the game date. Maybe it gets pushed a little forward, a little bit farther back. But if it ended up at 24, I think you'd get at least the highest seeds would all get a chance at a home game, first or second round. And then we'd still be able to avoid those holiday quarterfinals and semis on campus, which sound kind of alluring and romantic, but the more athletic directors you talk to off the record, they say, we don't want to play these games on our campus between Christmas and New Year's. It's just a recipe for disaster. So we feel good about where we are. Obviously, we're here to support the enterprise of the playoff, make sure it works. And I think in both of those slots, it's going to work. We just hope that whoever makes a decision on the final number keeps in mind what's good for the game. Not just good for the individual conference or an individual entity. What's good for college football? Because we got the best sport in the world. Let's not screw it up.
Well said. David Epps, CEO again of the Peach Bowl, kind enough to join us. Really appreciate you spending time with us. Congrats on all the great work that you guys have done, continued success. And we hope that we can bring a Nebraska contingent out there very shortly too. We'd love to be in Atlanta, and I'm sure there'd be a lot of red there too. So we're hoping.
We would love to have Nebraska get over the hump. Come on down to Atlanta. We'll treat you well.
He said that meeting experience would be good, so we're hoping we can hold you to that at some point.
Bring it on.
Thank you so much,
you,
David.
guys.
Appreciate you joining us. We're going to continue on here. John Fant is going to be joining us here in just a moment, but I wanted to get to what you and I were talking about, not only the college football playoff, and Kirk Ferentz brought this up yesterday, that I think with all of this that gets brought up about the playoff, and there's a lot of momentum in these 3 days of why it could work.
Sure.
I thought Kirk Ferentz for Iowa yesterday did say something that I think we got to remind ourselves on, and that is there are still a lot of things going on in college sports, college football that might need a little bit more attention than the bigger discussion of college football playoff expansion. I actually applauded Kirk Ferentz for at least pumping the brakes at one point, even though he was advocating for 24 teams. He did say, but is this really the top priority right now?
Yeah, it is. It's got a lot of attention this week. I mean, sort of the flavor of the week, flavor of the month. I mean, last week at SEC Media Days, it was about SEC secession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is sort of the emerging narrative this week. So it's a good sign, right? Because it means that these offseason discussions are starting to wind down and we can get into the things that we all love, which is the football itself.
We got the email we were looking forward to just about a half hour ago, and that was from a guy that we'll see tomorrow, Keith Mann, SID extraordinaire. We already started getting a look at the schedule and the first media availability for practices, and when we can start getting some of that substance. That again, this is what Big Ten Media Days and Conference Media Days always marks, and I like that the Big Ten goes a little bit later than the SEC and the Big 12, because once we wrap this up, as we mentioned, we're a week away from fall camp starting for Nebraska. So, of course, we're going to hear from Nebraska tomorrow, but it's just it gets a little bit more agonizing, I think, each year, and that is that whole part of the offseason headlines and storylines. So the quicker we can get to the actual substance on the field, the better. When we return here to Big Ten Media Days, John Fant, kind enough to join us, NBC Sports, both with the college football and, of course, with college basketball product. He will be joining us right here on Radio Row. We are live at Big Ten Media Days. It is Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW.
Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
Announcing the grand opening of the newest 42 Degrees location at 180th and Q. Celebrate big with 42 Degrees and take advantage of grand opening sales and discounts on everything in the store. That's right, sales on everything. From wellness-focused solutions that support everyday aches and pains to products designed for comfort and relaxation. This is your moment to save and feel your best. Now with 10 convenient locations serving Omaha and Lincoln. 42 Degrees makes it easy to stop in and stock up. Get details at 42degrees.com. 42 Degrees, trusted by mom.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
I'm Nancy, Jill of All Trades. Oh, Kim is amazing. She's on our 4th project with me. I feel like she's done my whole house. She's something different than a lot of other contractors out there. She cares, and she'll work 27 hours a day if she could. Oh, I'm just so happy with Kim and Jill of All Trades. I just keep going back. There's nothing that she can't do.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
Hey, it's Dave Wingert, and I submit there's so many reasons to choose Rebath over anybody else who remodels bathrooms, but I've only got 30 seconds. So listen, if you're a fellow boomer and you're looking to age in place, you don't need to sacrifice safety for style. You can enhance your bathroom safety with a luxury walk-in shower like I have, featuring non-slip flooring and a sleek bench and stylish grab bar, which is coming so handy since I had my shoulder done. Plus, they're fun to work with. Rebath.com.
Omaha is a sports town, and if you haven't experienced the Omaha Supernovas, this is the season. General Manager John Cook has assembled a roster built to bring another championship to Omaha, featuring former Husker Merritt Beeson, Creighton's Kiara Reinhart, and stars from around the volleyball world. Join Nova's Nation for all 13 home matches at CHI Health Center starting this January, and experience the loudest, most electric atmosphere in professional volleyball. Secure your season tickets today at supernovas.com and join the world's #1 professional volleyball fan base.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso, and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. At VRX, we take the time to get your medications organized, simplified, and tailored to you. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, accept all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Hour 2, Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW as we continue from Big Ten Media Days in the Windy City in Chicago. It's day 2 of Big Ten Media Days, day 1 for us here in our live coverage. Going to be, of course, here tomorrow. As Nebraska, Matt Rule, and the student athletes will hit the podium, have had a chance to listen to some of the coaches today and the various student athletes, and you'll hear from one of those, Charles Correa, a little bit later on, linebacker from Purdue. But really excited to kind of blend both the football world, Big Ten Media Days, and also the college basketball world with one of the greats who covers it. It does it in a way that only John Fanta can do, and John Fanta is kind enough to join us doing some studio hosting as well. He is here at Big Ten Media Days. And John, I mean, it's I know we get excited about this because it means football is right around the corner, but like you're dressed to the nines. You're all TV'd out. You're ready for TV right now too. But what are you thinking so far of just this entire layout, Big Ten Media Days back in Chicago, and a big year for the conference?
Yeah, big year for Anthony Calandra as well, and what the Huskers will be, because I know that Matt Rule would look back at last year and say, okay, there were a lot of expectations that could be the season we make a jump. Didn't happen, but there's no reason why I don't think it can still happen with Nebraska football. And then that's where I go to with the Big Ten. When you guys asked about the Big Ten, this is the best conference in college football. It's won the last 3 national championships, and I think it's getting deeper. And I say that because when you can come to Media Day, and I'm asking Todd Blackledge downstairs, who's our NBC Big Ten Saturday night analyst, I said, so who do you trust most? Oregon, Ohio State, or Indiana? And he goes, I don't know. And I said, well, why do you say that? He's like, because they all have a case to win the national championship. Okay, so those 3 are there. We knew that they'd be there. But why can't Penn State make the playoff? They don't have to play Indiana, Ohio State, or Oregon. They got Rocco Beck. They got 20-some-odd guys that have come with Coach Campbell from Iowa State to Penn State. Coach Campbell made a lot work with a little at Iowa State at times. They increased their resources, but you get the point of what I'm trying to say. And there's no reason why a USC or a Washington, it's now or never for USC.
Yeah, great.
Like they've got to put it together. So the conference is deeper, or so it feels that way heading into the year. And I just think that if you're a Nebraska fan, which is where you guys are talking to periodically, every single day, like there's pressure. There's pressure and there's expectations, and there should be. Yeah. Because when a Curt Cignetti does what he did this past January, it resets the bar.
I want to go there. Is Indiana getting slept on? Voted number 3
Yes.
at the Big Ten poll. Why?
It's a bad job. The people who voted them third, I'd vote them first. They're the reigning national champions. And we all know right now, let's say they won another one, we wouldn't even care who's on their team next year. We'd vote them one. Because we'd say enough is enough. Enough should be enough already. They went 16-0. They ran the table. They went to Oregon and beat them. Oregon's got 14 starters back. Those guys all lost to Indiana last year. And they're picked third because they don't have Fernando Mendoza. And they don't have the same receiving core. That receiver room was great. But they still got a bunch of pieces across the board. They still have pieces on that offensive line. That left tackle is ridiculous. And I get that the elephant in the room is the turnover problem for Hoover, that he's an interception guy. You don't think Curt Cignetti can fix that and can figure through that? Nick Marsh comes in. That guy's legit. He's legit. And he was an elite player on a bad team, a bad Michigan State team. That's why they had changed. By the way, it won't take long for Fitz. Like, you just know Michigan State football will get something on track. So for me, when I look at Indiana football, they're picked third in this conference. That says two things. Number one, the conference has 3 national championship caliber teams. Number two, it's criminal to put them third when Curt Cignetti has lost, 2 games?
Yeah.
I can't do that. I just, they have to, they're no lower than second. You know, if you wanted to make an argument and say Oregon's won because the amount of starting players and Dante Moore, who passed for over 3,500 yards, and Dan Lanning, this whole idea that Dan Lanning hasn't won the big game, he's 48-8. He's 40 years old. The last 2 years, the only team he's lost to has won the national championship. So, I like, if you wanted to put Oregon 1 and Indiana 2, I'm not going to object to that in a big way. Ohio State has to replace 8 guys on defense. Now, Matt Patricia did it once, but can you do it again? That's a lot to ask. So it's not good for the rest of the Big Ten that they were voted third, because don't think that the head coach is not going to use that for motivation. He's going to use that all the time.
Yeah.
I would don't poke the bear.
Right. It's funny. We're talking to John Fanta here on Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW. We were talking about the same thing as Curt Cignetti. When we see him hit the podium tomorrow, you know that's going to be part of that edge. I want to ask you about this one, though, because you mentioned Lincoln Riley. I'm right there with you. This is a must win, and win at the level that USC expects for him to feel comfortable. One of the most intriguing, you mentioned Matt Campbell, which I think when I think of what seemed to be a disastrous sudden, Kyle Whittingham is right there. And I cannot think of a damn point of how Michigan wants to play to find a better person that was just out there to take a job. And I mean, it's almost like Michigan, they fell into, in my opinion, an even better situation as far as the identity that we've seen from Whittingham teams.
No question. They fell into a great situation and a tremendous hire. And is he going to be the coach for the next 10 years? No. You know, this to me, at his age, is going to be something where he would have been fine riding off into the sunset to begin with. It might be a 3 to 5 or 6 year thing. But the fact is, they needed stability in their offices for Bryce Underwood to figure out his way as a Michigan Wolverine.
That's a good point. And
so you have him at the helm. You have Jason Beck, who I think everybody's intrigued to see what can Jason Beck do with Bryce Underwood. And you have a team that I expect their defense to be pretty good. I think that's the expectation. I think the remaining question for this team is can the quarterback put it together? And if he puts it together, they could be the boom team in college football, because they have as good of a home field advantage as any in the sport. He's got the makeup to take over a season. He has the makeup to have a season like Cam Newton had at Auburn.
Yeah.
And that means Heisman Trophy type of winner. That's the interesting thing about the Big Ten, is there are multiple Heisman Trophy candidates in this conference. If you said who's the best quarterback in this league, you would say, oh, it's an honest debate, day to day.
Yeah.
But Underwood, you have Sharon Moore. It never felt right. Like before we knew of all the off the field stuff, watching Michigan go to Oklahoma and get pushed around. Then they went out to Southern Cal. They got pushed around. They got beaten off the line of scrimmage. That wasn't Michigan football. Whittingham will bring that back. Like one thing you could always say about Kyle Whittingham's teams is they play a physical brand of football and they're tough.
Yeah.
They're tough. I mean, he's that type of coach. So it's a for Michigan and their athletic department to have the changes that had to happen and that are going to happen because the whole war manual situation it's not resolving itself until at the end of the calendar year or whatnot. It's amazing what they've accomplished with the amount of dysfunction they've had internally. But now you got to reset things, and that's what Underwood needed. He needs a seasoned guy who's worked with a lot of personalities to say, all right, what's best for us?
John, I want to bring us back to like a big picture topic that's really dominated this week here at Big Ten Media Days, and that's playoff expansion. The Big Ten has made it clear, the coaches have made it clear this week that 24 teams is what they want, expanding from 12. Your other love, college football, or rather college basketball, has already expanded the NCAA tournament. That was rather universally condemned. It's different here because the coaches are campaigning for it. Where do you sit on college football playoff expansion?
I would not expand it because of this reason. We have not given the 12-team playoff enough of a window to have full data to say whether or not it's working. And oh, by the way, by the limited sample size that we've had with 12, the first round has been at times unwatchable.
Yeah.
That's not a lie.
Yeah.
So if you're saying 24, well, they'd have a play-in round. Okay, that's great. There's watchability there, but we're still going to end up where we were. And so I understand TV dollars. I get it. I get that it creates more TV revenue. I get that it creates more money for all the schools. I get that when an Iowa has a really nice year that they could be a playoff team and that a PJ Fleck could be in the mix for a playoff appearance and an off, whatever the year might be, and that USC would be in and all that. But it doesn't answer the question. Is it the best way to crown a national champion when these teams are playing as many extra weeks as they are, and we're not ending the season until January 20th or January 25th? And we're already doing that.
Yeah.
And it just feels like the season is too long as a result. And that college football is constantly having to battle with the National Football League to find its way when it's like adding more teams is going to help that cause.
Right.
Adding more teams to your playoff is going to help your regular season. I don't think it does. And if you're going to expand the playoff, these conferences need to work together and they need to make every effort to play each other in weeks 1, 2, and 3 of the season, or else people are going to tune out. They're going to say, I'm not going to watch Michigan play Western Michigan. I'm not going to watch Nebraska play New Mexico. Why am I watching the game? If Nebraska, 2014 playoff, would a Husker fan be happy with the playoff berth? Yeah. But if I'm a Husker fan, I'd be saying, yeah, but what about the 12-team playoff?
Right.
I wanted to make the 12-team playoff. It's 24 now. Of course we should make the playoff. We're Nebraska football. I'm not for it. I wasn't for the expansion of 76. Here's the difference between me and maybe another talking head. If they do it, I don't spout off and start yelling and start going crazy because there's nothing we can do about it. And for college basketball, there's 365 teams. So they expanded the tournament to proportionally fit what they've got. In college football, what do you got, 130?
Right.
Well, that's 235 less. That's a lot of teams. That's a lot of schools.
Yeah.
So I have not been a proponent of expansion. If they do it, I'm not going to be that upset about it. But can we not let the 12-team playoff have 5 or 6 years?
Right. Yeah.
Before we just make the change?
Yeah.
I feel like we went to 12 and it's like, now we got to go to 24. Now we win more.
And to double it too. right? I mean, to say like 12, like, I mean, I mean, in a world of 16, if you feel the need that there's so much momentum and revenue, we get that. The revenue is what drives that. I just think we get to a number, and it's like, how much are we diluting the product? That's my biggest concern right there, too.
You're diluting the product. College basketball has done a nice job in November and December of forming a lot of marquee games, but it still doesn't move the needle the same way that the sport does in March.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that.
Right.
But they've done a better job of forming competitive games and more resume games. And frankly, you should, because there's no penalty to losing those games. There's a lot more of a penalty to losing a bye game. In college football, it's harder to judge these teams. And here's the thing. You're right. You're going to dilute the product. Because if I'm 13 playing 16, that should matter.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm 13 playing 16 with 2 weeks left in the regular season, I'm trying to say, let me just not get blown out and let me stay healthy in the game. That shouldn't be the goal.
Yeah.
It should not be the goal. We shouldn't get to week 9 and we're saying Ohio State, Michigan really doesn't mean much except for seeding.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, you said that yesterday.
The game has to matter. But to the national viewer, what does it matter? And people are like, well, Ohio State, Michigan always matters. It's different. And that might be the exception. But there's not more than 4 or 5 of those. And if you think that there are, you're lying to yourselves. It does not help the product to go to 24 in the regular season. It just doesn't. And I'm telling you right now, I think that there's probably, I'm going to say, and this is better than before. I think there's 8 teams that could win the national championship in college football. I put the list like 8 to 10.
And you mentioned just a few in the Big Ten.
Right. I just mentioned 3.
Right.
At least 3.
So
Exactly.
Georgia could.
Yep.
Right. Notre Dame could.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5. In the SEC, like, it's a little hard. Like, I don't think Alabama can win the national championship.
You got a lot to prove this year.
Picked 5th in the preseason, which is crazy to me.
Yeah. Who was picked 2nd in the SEC? Right. I mean, we got Georgia. We've got.
Was it Texas?
Yeah, Texas.
Yeah.
Texas. I'm not bullish on Texas.
Yeah.
Like, I have my doubts. I think Ohio State's going to go in there and beat them because I think they're a better football team. And I don't fully trust Arch Manning yet. But Texas is on the list.
Yeah.
So that's 6. Nobody from the Big 12 that I think can win the national championship, really.
Yeah.
Miami, they have the right to be on the list because they made it and they still
Sure.
look really, really good.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then the list kind of dwindles down.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to add more teams to your playoff? That doesn't make much sense to me. It's already, keep it at 12 because over half of it could win it all.
Yeah. And we're getting to that point right now.
That's a nice system.
Right.
But I would move it to 24. You're going to have too many meaningless games, unfortunately.
Yeah. I agree.
John, I hate to get you out without talking a little college hoops. Briefly here, one question for each team. For Nebraska, what's it going to take to make last year not an anomaly? And then meanwhile, for CU and for the Creighton listeners that we have here on this station, does Huss have the horses this next year after taking over for Coach Mack to regain the power that Creighton had just a few years ago?
Well, let's start with Nebraska. They have the ability to make the tournament again. They've got some questions to answer because of some of the faces that they lost. You know, you don't just lose a couple of the cornerstone pieces that they saw depart, and you're just naturally fine, you know, because they lost some really, really good players. But to have Price Sanford back, to have Braden Frager back, who I think is a really talented shooting guard who can get even better. I think we're going to see him continue to only blossom. And then Trayvon Lenhart, I think, could have a really big year for this team, and it seems like there's a lot to like about him. What do they look like on the interior? You know, that's going to be the question for Coach Hoiberg. They got Bowden Kapke. They've got Sam Orme. They got a couple of interesting guys. Those guys have to show that they can handle in the Big Ten, and they can do it in the Big Ten. They got Connor Essegian coming off the injury. We'll see what that looks like, but he's a veteran player that's played in a lot of college basketball games. He's produced a lot of social media videos in the process. But you know, they should be a tournament team. Creighton, as interesting a team in the Big East as any team, because of the fact that you've only had 2 coaches essentially the last 3 decades, and now you have Alan Huss, who's a Creighton guy who I think is working around the clock, working tirelessly to make this successful.
Mm-hmm.
Allen is as hard a worker I know. He wants Creighton to be a team that makes deep tournament runs. They've got the roster for it. Wes Enos, really talented, comes in from South Florida. The guy can just fill it up. Austin Swartz is back. Jason Green's back. They have some nice continuity here. The guy that's poised to break out nationally is Jackson McAndrew.
Mm-hmm.
Got hurt early in last season. It killed Creighton's momentum. They brought in Oswin Arumse from Providence. They got to get him to become a more consistent big man. But BJ Davis comes in from San Diego State. The Creighton Blue Jays should dance. Here's the thing. The Big East. Last year, average roster probably $8, $9, $10 million, I'll say. This year, over $15 million for a roster in the Big East Conference. The Big East, a lot of people said that when the revenue sharing began that they would be a trendsetter in basketball. They weren't. They were behind the eight ball. They no longer are. And their hoops rosters look the part. The Big East is not going to be a 3-bid league this coming year. It's probably going to be a 6-bid league. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a much, much, much better league. Much better. Creighton's got the challenge of trying to fit in there. We'll see how they do it.
It's John Fanta, of course, great work on NBC Sports, college basketball, college football here at Big Ten Media Days. John, really appreciate you spending time with us.
Yes.
Enjoy the remainder of the week. I know it feels like we're kind of halfway home here, but we still got another full day of this, too.
And I want to say this. I'm going to do my very best. I got to get to a Nebraska hoops game this year. I want to get to the bank. And I got to host the pregame show last year for Nebraska USC November 1st. Last year, that Saturday night game.
Yeah.
Our pregame show came on. We came into the stadium pregame. That is as wild the blackout atmosphere. The students, they were camped out hours. Nebraska fans deserve a playoff football team. And I hope Coach Rule brings them because that'd be great for the sport.
I think there are a lot of people listening right now that are agreeing with you.
Everybody's in your camp, John.
They're definitely agreeing with you. Hey, thanks again for joining us,
guys.
Thank you so much.
Happy to do it.
We got more coming up here in hour number 2. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made from scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
That rumble you just heard? Don't panic. It's not your engine. It's your stomach, and it knows exactly what it wants. Wing Haven in Millard is making wings the right way. Every sauce scratch made, and they keep getting better. Feeling brave? Go Dragonfire. Want to live on the edge? Try the Haven sauce of hell. Not ready for all that? Get them naked. Or go garlic parmesan and thank yourself later. Bone in, boneless, loaded fries, or satisfy that sweet tooth with any of their refreshers or hot churro bites or donuts. Open every day till 11 at 138th and P. Wing Haven. Run for wings.
Save big money on your outdoor projects now at Menards. Create stunning patios, walkways, and retaining walls with our huge in-stock selection of durable concrete landscape blocks ready to take home today. Plus, get free estimates with our easy-to-use design program in-store or on Menards.com. Save big money on our smooth patio block on sale now through August 2nd. Plus, check out our weekly flyer for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Losing someone you love is never easy. During life's most difficult moments, having caring people by your side can make all the difference. At Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, you'll see compassion in every face and feel comfort in surroundings filled with light, love, and cherished memories. For traditional funerals, cremation, personalized tributes, or veteran services, Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services. Locally owned with 2 convenient locations, North 90th and the newly expanded chapel at 82nd and L. Learn more at gsfuneral.com.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
Kim from Jill of All Trades impressed me so much with our office renovation that I had to bring her out to my house. She transformed our backyard with new concrete patio, composite steps, and an amazing pergola. It's rare to find someone you trust with your business and your home, but Kim has earned that trust. She truly is a Jill of All Trades.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you.
At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Starting next week, you'll have a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Huskers home opener on September 5th, plus tailgate passes, plus WOW swag. Be listening for details. Handley and Hansen continues here live from Chicago. Big Ten Media Days, day number 2. Dan Lanning doing his side session. He spoke about some Dylan Raiola questions earlier. We're going to get to that later, but we do have some updates that we want to get to you as it pertains to a big question looming for Nebraska and awaiting the arrival of Matt Rule and, of course, the student athlete contingents that will be here tomorrow with Nebraska, and, of course, with Justin Evans and Andrew Marshall and Luke Lindermeyer. You're going to have the question that was going to be with Mekhi Nelson, that was an inevitable. And we really have more clarity on that with Troy Dannon, who's been around making the rounds today, did a side session with the local media and did provide clarity that there will be no university punishment for Mekhi Nelson. He was cleared through Title IX. There were no charges that were initially filed, then dropped with that incident with Mekhi Nelson involving his girlfriend. So right now, as far as any type of internal discipline, that is up to Matt Rule. But as far as the university is concerned, in the Title IX office, there is no university discipline. He is fully eligible and cleared to play from that standpoint.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. You know, I was ready to just say, well, I mean, we've got full clarity on this. He'll be ready to go for fall camp and should be able to participate with Nebraska, essentially as if nothing had happened. He's cleared the Title IX office. That was a requirement there for any sort of reinstatement. But because there are no charges, as Troy Dannon said, Nelson hasn't violated Nebraska's student athlete code of conduct. So in theory, he could be good to go. That part about it too, I think that is important. If Matt Rule does want to circle back and does want to apply, some other additional sanction, he can. A couple other things too. Remember the stuff that was taken down by the College Sports Commission, the $7.5 million in Nebraska NIL deals. Well, those have been resubmitted and approved according to Troy Dannon. So 18 players that were affected by that will be paid once their newly specified deliverables are met. Of course, that's from Mitch Sherman. I'm reading off of his Twitter there. So that's another black mark. Probably not a huge one, but that was one thing that people were really bashing the athletic department for.
Yeah.
At points during this offseason, essentially saying, how could it be possible that you submitted these things wrong, or are you trying to challenge the CSC? And after those deals were rejected and then the court case didn't go Nebraska's way, here's the line of
very rare that
here's
happens.
What they're saying. They said, look, we're going to have to resubmit it. You're going to resubmit it and things will be fine. And as evidence here, they resubmitted it and they were approved.
And this also, yes, it I guess you could, it depended on how you looked at it. You could say what you just said there. And that was that it was kind of a, I don't know, some type of miscommunication or some type of foul up on the athletic department's part. But you could also look at it, and I know some people are looking at it as the CSC of what are they really enforcing? Is there clarity on how everything is submitted and if it's submitted properly and if there's certain gray areas that haven't been addressed. So I don't think in these matters, and we'll use Nebraska as the example because that's what we're talking about right now. I don't, for me personally, know if it's as much about the due diligence and the process from the athletic department as much as it is, do you have full clarity from the CSC, which I think both parties are starting and continuing to learn from one another. Because I'll say this for Nebraska, and this isn't a homer take or, yeah, we're the home of Husker sports, but as we mentioned on Monday, they don't hold us to, walk the company line when it comes to any of that. This is my opinion, is that going back to NIL and the process that came with that, knowing that, okay, if you're going to do NIL, you've got to have a system in place that is going to protect these student athletes for taxes.
Sure.
When you're making money that you didn't have before, knowing all of that financial education so you can be responsible with that money, or at least have a system that exists to allow those kids to be responsible. I thought Nebraska did a great job of that. So I think when it comes to compliance, when it comes to this new age of earning dollars for student athletes, I feel like Nebraska is one of, I would consider now the many that have been very forward thinking on making sure that they're going through those steps and those processes in a legitimate way. So when I heard about this ruling, I initially thought, okay, what wasn't clear on the CSC part of this as opposed to where Nebraska might have missed the ball? I get it, though, when you see student athletes, you quickly want to say the student athlete was wronged by the athletic department. And in some of those situations, examples that exist in college sports, and especially in college football, that has been the case. We've seen a lot of NIL deals that were not fully fulfilled because they were sold a bill of goods. In this matter, I always wondered what the disconnect was between how it was submitted and the CSC and the clarity that they were provided in those guidelines. That's how I always saw that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a thing that really it was a off-season storyline, something for people to chew on this spring. But in the end, clearly, it's not going to end up being that big of a deal. It's fascinating that, like, we have three different questions. That was probably one that wasn't on people's minds as much. But Mekhi Nelson and the patch, those are two things that I think a lot of people were thinking about going into this and seeking clarification on, and those were cleared up here today.
Yeah, the Mekhi Nelson one, look, there's going to continue to be, as we see in all these situations when there's initially charges that were filed, and this is involving his pregnant girlfriend, that if there was any type of physical harm done, what were the circumstances? We don't know the full story of that, but there's always going to be optics. And I'm not going to pretend to say that, okay, now that we heard what Troy Dannon said, those optics go away. Those optics are a lot more clear and are fine now. That's not the reality. I don't think tomorrow Matt Rule is going to tell us anything about internal discipline. I would imagine that there is probably some type of internal discipline that is taking place, or at least something that Mekhi Nelson is having to do to make sure that any situation, even if it wasn't his fault, will be avoided in the future. And however Matt Rule or the coaching staff or anybody involved within the athletic department wants to handle that is going to be up to them. But I doubt we'll get any light on what exactly those steps are. And I don't even know if Matt Rule will say, yep, he's a day one participant. He might say, we haven't made that decision yet.
Sure.
Or he is going through an internal discipline measure, but we're going to leave it at that.
Well, and we'd love to hear from you too. I mean, how do you feel? Look, there's one hurdle left to clear for Mekhi Nelson to be a full participant in fall camp. That's Matt Rule, and whether or not he decides to enact any discipline. 531-895-0590. If he's a day one starter, how would that make you feel? Love to hear from you out there.
We're going to continue on. We're back to wrap up the 3 o'clock hour. We got plenty more, though, here live from Big Ten Media Days. We talked to one CEO of a very prestigious bowl. We're going to talk also the Fiesta Bowl CEO a little bit later on in the 4 o'clock hour as well. We're coming right back here from Chicago. It is Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW.
My wife and I were watching television one evening, and we saw an ad come on, and it was for Roof Max. So after I had 4 or 5 people out, he came out, and sure enough, it turned out to be a great process, especially being able to replace some of the shingles that came off. I'd be happy to give a recommendation. You guys do such an outstanding job, and I've watched you all the way through the process, and I just have nothing but praise for how careful and neat and really exacting crew was and what they did.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
Give your family the gift of peace of mind by pre-planning your funeral arrangements today. At Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, their caring staff is dedicated to helping you make your wishes known in advance, easing emotional burdens and reducing uncertainty during a difficult time. With flexible funding options and affordable rates, Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services is here to help you plan with confidence and care. Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, 2 Omaha locations or online at gsfuneral.com.
Summer is so much more than just nice weather. It means taking out the boat or the golf cart or the Harley out of the garage. But when it's been a few months since those have started up, and they won't, that's where Action Batteries comes in. At Action Batteries, it all starts with us. Whether it's your car battery or your lawn and garden battery, we've been doing it all since 1982. So you can focus on having some fun this summer. Action Batteries Unlimited offers free installation of batteries in most vehicles. Find us at 79th and J Street or online at actionbatteries.com.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army Seven Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Here's your updated Metro weather outlook. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with a slight chance of thunderstorms. High of 93. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Tonight, lows around 71. Right now, it's 90 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki, and that's your updated Metro weather on AM 590 WOW. Online at 590WOW.com.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Back with you here at Big Ten Media Days. Grant Hansen, Nick Handley. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW. Hey, folks, tune in to Handley and Hansen for Generational Beef Trivia every Friday starting next week at 4 o'clock. Brought to you by Pit Barbecue Lounge, just off of Highway 370 and 72nd Street in Omaha. We'll pit one generation against another in a game of trivia for a chance to win a $25 gift card from the Pit Barbecue Lounge. Again, that begins next Friday, as well as several other of our benchmark segments. And Nick, you were alluding to it. You were teasing it during the break, but earlier today, Oregon head coach Dan Lanning at the podium and was asked a question about a potential looming threat of a Dylan Raiola transfer as he sits behind Dante Moore, who is poised to be a Heisman Trophy finalist. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find many people who didn't think right now that he's got a very strong shot, if not maybe potentially the best shot.
He was
to
literally
be there.
standing behind us next to the Heisman Trophy, and the dude looks good.
So just
physically looks good.
The reporter also referred to Raiola as a journeyman, but
I love that.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
But Lanning said, I think there's always a looming threat, but not with Dylan. Dylan chose Oregon, knowing what's going on, what it's going to look like, rather, at Oregon. Lanning said Ducks coaches were very transparent with Raiola about the likelihood of Moore returning for another season. And so with that 5-for-5 change too, it doesn't edit much for him in terms of his eligibility. But because he was already going to redshirt probably this year and do a 4-game rule. So that picture doesn't change for him. But again, Lanning also mentioned that Dylan's done an unbelievable job changing his body and working really hard. He's got unbelievable talent. He's a really smart player, and he's had the opportunity to be exposed to our system. Because he can play in every game this year as the backup quarterback to Moore. I mean, it's not off the table. I know this is down the line, but not off the table that he plays against Nebraska in October.
Absolutely. It's on the table. And look, I'm going to say this because I think we lose sight of it. And I think it's appropriate because we're here at Big Ten Media Days. And I just remember a lot of the conversation directed at Matt Rule and all the Nebraska representation that was here, or not here, but in Vegas at Big Ten Media Days a year ago. The excitement, the optimism, the fact that some people were labeling Nebraska as a dark horse college football playoff team in 2025. A big reason for that was the year 1 to 2 jump for a true freshman now into a sophomore year in Dylan Raiola. And there was a lot of excitement. There was promise. And I think that was real. I don't think that was something people were grabbing out of thin air. I thought there was a lot of strides that you saw from Dylan Raiola as a freshman.
Right.
And I thought he did a lot of good things last year as well. Did he erupt? Did he explode the way that everybody thought or hoped he would for Nebraska's offense to take that major step forward? No, but that wasn't all on him. And I think it does say something, what Dan Lanning talked about, when you bring in a 5-star talent, a guy that was starting at a major Power 4 college football program as a true freshman and was holding his own in the process, that you are able to let him know, hey, we'll take you. We'd love for you to be the future here, but you're probably going to have to sit behind our guy in Dante Moore. He's probably going to stick around, and you're still cool with that. You know, I've never looked at Dylan Raiola and thought of him as an immature person. I've never looked at him and thought, boy, this guy was completely overrated. There's no value to him.
There were times where I looked at him and thought he was immature. Several times.
I didn't. I looked at. See, I
like Michigan State, for example. I mean, but that was certainly a game where that was a behavior that was immature.
The frustration,
and
you're talking about towards the fans, right?
Yeah, that too, and like that was part of, I think, what held him back. And I get it. You know, folks don't want us to relegate this whole thing. It's going to be bad enough the week that Nebraska plays Oregon this season. It's going to be 100 times worse next year when Raiola comes to Lincoln in a Ducks uniform. But
that might be the blackout game.
That was part of the deal, right? And that's part of where even before the injury or before even people were considering that he would transfer, that people were starting to turn on their perspective on him was because of some of those behaviors. So he definitely had several moments of significant immaturity at Nebraska. And, you know, just for the sake of his future and his career, you would hope he'd learn from those.
What you say immaturity, though, Grant, I almost say he was almost too much of a businessman. He was.
No.
I think he was.
What do you mean? He's out there waving. He's floundering around.
But that happens to seniors sometimes. They get caught up in the moment. Absolutely. I mean I'm not going to put that and
those people aren't immature. No, like you have to be better about the way that you portray yourself to everybody else in the fan base, and he fell short on that several times last year.
22-year-olds have that moment of immaturity when they get caught up in the moment. They get caught up in an environment like that. When things aren't going your way, I'm not going to say he might have had an immature moment. Sure, I'll give you that, but I don't think he was an immature kid. And I think maybe this isn't what you're saying about.
I'm saying those significant immature moments that were very public because they were at home in front of 90,000 people. That's part of what started to shift everybody else's outside perspective on him.
Yeah, I think that's holding someone prisoner of the moment as opposed to, because I think a lot of the backlash that I always heard was he was more visible in the community, but not necessarily always with the entire team, and maybe cared more about his brand than he did the Husker football brand.
Some of that could be revisionist history a little bit.
And to me, I look at that as that's the business. I'm not saying that that's a good way to go about it, but I'm saying I know people chalk that up to immaturity because he was all about like the Dylan Raiola brand. I think that's where a lot of student athletes are right now, especially ones that come in at that quarterback position, that 5-star position, or the ones that are making that much money when it comes to NIL and rev share, that they start acting that way. And I don't consider that immature. I consider that maybe being too focused on the individual brand and not the entire team. I can tell you
his brand, if that is the problem for him, his individual brand is certainly not bigger than Oregon, and it wasn't bigger than Nebraska either.
Well, that's why I thought it was interesting that Dan Lanning said that, and maybe that's a humbling moment for the young man. We will see, and only time will tell. We're halfway home here. Day number 2 of Big Ten Media Days is day number 1 for us. We're coming right back here in the 4 o'clock hour. We're going to be talking some more bowl games. We're going to be talking to the Fiesta Bowl CEO in the 4 o'clock hour. That and much more here at AM 590.
The legend has returned. Sports Talk Huskers. AM 590. WOW. Omaha.
Here's your updated Metro weather.
I'm Ed Bank, and NFL training camp is underway, and there is injury news on this Wednesday. Bengals defensive end Shamar Stewart was carted off the field during practice. He suffered a left leg injury. Saints defensive lineman Brian Brzee suffered a knee injury, which is feared to be a torn ACL. Meanwhile, Panthers rookie receiver Chris Brazzell II went down in practice. As first reported by The Athletic and confirmed by ESPN, Brazzell suffered a moderate LCL tear in his left knee and is expected to miss 8 weeks. Meanwhile, at Ravens camp, Lamar Jackson talked about the urgency to win a Super Bowl at this stage of his career.
Absolutely, it does. Each and every year I'm getting older, not younger, so of course, it increases, but it starts now. Like I said, on the lounge, it starts now, training camp.
Meanwhile, another quarterback note, Vegas coach Clint Kubiak says Kirk Cousins is starting camp, taking snaps with the top unit. To baseball, the Marlins came back from a 6-0 deficit to beat the Phillies 8-6 to complete a 3-game sweep of their series. Diamondbacks over the Pirates 3-0. First of 2, Mets beat the Braves 3-2.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
My wife and I were watching television one evening, and we saw an ad come on, and it was for Roof Max. So after I had 4 or 5 people out, he came out, and sure enough, it turned out to be a great process, especially being able to replace some of the shingles that came off. I'd be happy to give a recommendation. You guys do such an outstanding job, and I've watched you all the way through the process, and I just have nothing but praise for how careful and neat and really exacting crew was and what they did.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741. Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. We're not a chain, not a box store, but a locally owned community pharmacy that knows our customers. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, except all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
My name is Christy. They painted our whole house and they did some soffit work for us. I would highly recommend Kim. She is fantastic. She has a great eye for detail. Her crew was wonderful. Everything was clean when they left, and it was fantastic.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
Have you ever heard of lion's mane mushrooms? It's a mushroom that looks like a brain, and the supplement supports memory that may help with anxiety or depression. Also contains antioxidants and fiber that can support gut and immune health. Capsules of lion's mane are on sale all this month at both No Name Nutrition markets.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army 7 Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW, live from the Big Ten Media Days. Day number 2 here in Chicago. Day 3 wraps things up tomorrow with the last group of teams going, including Nebraska. We'll be hearing from all of them tomorrow. Look forward to doing that today. You've had guys like Dan Lanning. Today was an interesting day for sure because you had Dan Lanning, you had Pat Fitzgerald, that I think everyone was very interested to see what he had to say. Ryan Day. So you had two coaches that are definitely driving towards national championship aspirations here in 26. You had the intrigue of the return to the Big Ten for Pat Fitzgerald with a different team. And then, of course, as we mentioned earlier in the show, PJ Fleck, who never is short on optimism, energy, and everything else that you can stack on to that man. And by the way, he was going with the no socks, slip-on shoes. He is.
He's authentically him.
Yes, and the suit is always tailored to the very inch that you can have on a human being too. That is, PJ Fleck knows how to present himself in these types of forums.
One other note here before we get into our next little debate conversation, but the Husker football super sleuths are on it and at it again. Earlier today, you had the official media guy put out for Nebraska football by the athletic department staff. Tyke Hayes officially added to the roster, so that's the first university confirmation of that addition. But another nugget here for you is the move for Jeremiah Jones in his redshirt freshman season from receiver to defensive line, 6'4", 230. Year 2 coming up for him. I'll tell you what, Nick, when we watch practice, and this is going to be an interesting conversation next week when normally, and I have to check that email from Keith, normally that first practice is one of the first times we get to see their first practice that we get a little bit of open media availability to watch practice. When we did that, Jeremiah Jones was somebody who immediately jumped out at
all of us. Certainly
me as a very physically imposing individual. So I don't know how it's going to turn out. For the most part, maybe with the exception of Bullock, position changes haven't necessarily worked in Nebraska's favor under Matt Rule. I think it's probably a net even. Maybe a slight negative. But wanted to get that out there so people know. Jeremiah Jones now, defensive lineman, not a receiver.
And that one is this is what I'm trying to grapple with on that, Grant. And you may or may not either agree or pick up what I'm laying down. But maybe that's a better question I pose to you because I know how I feel on this. I still think that there's belief. And I'm in more of the I'll see it when I believe it, getting a lot of run for Quasi Gilmore emerging as possibly that 1A target for Nebraska. And Anthony Calandra, who spoke very highly of Gilmore as being that deep threat.
Sure.
Being that vertical threat, that separation that this offense is going to need, especially if Calandra is able to extend plays. I think there's a belief within this program that their wide receiving core is, or do you want to say sneaky good or just they'll be public about it. They feel like it's solid and it's deep.
Yep.
That this might, what you just mentioned there, could be more of a product of the depth of that room as opposed to a guy that's just not quite turning the corner at the wide receiving position.
That is something I lean more on the depth side.
That's
right.
Okay, so we're on the same page. That's where I'm at.
It is such a deep. So usually when I look at these position changes, my default posture is this is a guy who may or may not be on his way out with the program. Like after this year, dude could be transferring. This is one instance where I'm like, oh, okay, I can see why. Because if you go run down the list, Janaron Bonner's back this year.
Right.
Not a true receiver.
But people forget that.
That's a guy who's going to be an incredible piece. Obviously, Ja'Cory Barney, Quinn Clark, Keelan Smith, Cortez Mills, Isaiah Hunter, Quasi Gilmer. Some people like Nayland Scott. I know he's a freshman. Larry Miles, similar thing.
Yep.
Right? Like, I don't know if those last two guys, like, immediately contribute this year. In fact, I would expect they would not. But that's 8 guys right there that are all names that are regularly thrown around in these sorts of discussions, some more so than others. And then you add on the fact that there's some talk about, like, okay, maybe you slot in Carter Nelson in the slot for a few plays. So this is just a really, really crowded room. The position change makes sense whether it works out or not. I mean, traditionally, I would say probably not, but we'll see.
Yeah,
he's got the frame for it.
He does. Obviously, there's some weight that's going to have to continue to be put on. But yeah, when I think of what he looked like and what at least a year ago, what he projected, what Jeremiah Jones projected to possibly be at that position, I say you weren't the only one, because I remember at that practice when we were talking to some of the other members of the media, that was one of the first names we all brought up.
Yeah.
Was, wow, he's
big.
You can tell he looks the part. He's definitely a presence out there.
That was our first of the show ever. It looks the part.
Looks the part. There it is. He looks the part.
And again, we'll talk about this next
week. Get off
week.
the bus, guy?
I will be there. I believe you and I will be there whenever the first open practice portion is.
Who's going to look the part?
There is going to be so many takes that are very aggressive that are based on essentially no information.
Yeah.
Which is,
oh, hell yeah.
I just try to balance that. But hey, here's the thing. Big dude, right?
He's a big dude.
Big dude.
There's no question.
We can confirm that.
Yeah, big dude. We'll see. The reason why I say maybe we pump not that you're all of a sudden ready to send him packing in the transfer portal. I think if you're willing to make a position change, I think that at least shows commitment to the program for the year to see how that might go. Because let's say it doesn't work and you're like, okay, you know what? This isn't for me. I don't want to make a position change. Then why make the position change? Go elsewhere.
Sure.
But if you're willing to make the position change, at least that means this program or something about this program has you intrigued to want to stick around and see if that could be a avenue or a path for you. But time will tell on that.
Okay, there's a column that came out this week. I want to ask you about that. From Steven Sipple, I believe. Was it Tuesday's colum?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday?
It's Wednesday? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard to keep track.
I am losing it. That's what happens when we travel, man. I start losing track of days.
Price of doing business.
Gone for a week and a half.
So Sip sort of just recycled the reset rebuild conversation from earlier in the year, and largely because that's the closest that we've seen to Matt Rule actually getting fairly testy with the reporter at any point in a media session.
Well, and I think Sip's challenging the outside media to ask the question too, so someone else can.
He did throw down the gauntlet.
Yeah, someone can get the venom.
He wanted someone
else
national reporter to ask that. And look, I'm sure there's somebody here that would be a lamb to the slaughter if Sip actually. That's great. I'm going to text him that actually.
Yeah,
he should try to pay somebody under the table to ask that question.
Or we should have an odds pool on maybe some of the national media who might actually ask that question.
Nobody's going to actually ask that question unless you're given the full context of the reset rebuild.
Is Dennis Donner?
But you have a take on there? You have a take on that, I believe?
Reset rebuild?
Reset rebuild.
Yeah. Look, it is to me a reset. And because I know what Matt Rule's pushback was, we're building. We're continuing to build the program. So this is a continuation of the build.
Sure.
I don't see it that way. And maybe I'll be proven wrong. But when you make the changes that you made, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have made those changes with the coaching staff, but when you get rid of your DC, you make the change with a D-line coach, you end up losing your special teams coach, whether that was mutual or forced or whatever the case may be. You made offensive line, so your entire interior coaching personnel, you make changes. That, to me, is when I think of building, continuing, and being part of the process, I think of the continuity. I think with coaches, if they're leaving on their own volition because they got a better job or they just decided to leave, like Tony White.
It's a mix of both.
You know, I need the continuity to believe that this is part of that process of the build. Again, your hand might be forced where you think you are building, and all of a sudden there are certain elements to that coaching staff. You're like, you know what? We need a change. That's fine. But it's hard to sell anything other than a reset when you do make personnel changes like that. Then you look at, and I get it, they invested into the offensive line. But the amount of new bodies that you're going to put around Justin Evans in that offensive line, I get it, some of those guys classed out. But you also look at a lot of significant changes. We're talking about another quarterback change. Again, Dylan Riley hit the transfer portal. That's not Matt Rule's fault.
Right.
But
no, I mean,
that's the reality, that you've got major changes, both personnel-wise and with your coaching staff, that it's hard not to look at it in any other lens other than a reset. A reset could be positive. A reset could be good for them, but
it was for Nebraska basketball.
I think it's a reset.
I hate this conversation, but I knew you wanted to talk about it, so I acquiesced. But
thank you for humoring me.
The thing I hate about this conversation is it's all semantics. By the letter of the law, this is a reset,
and it's by exactly.
But here's
by definition.
Here's what you could argue. At the very least, he's rebuilding his staff again. And if you're going to pick something that has caused Nebraska to maybe not have enough traction to really start to gain some pretty significant momentum over his time here, I think the volatility in the coaching staff has to be one of the things that you point to. Look at Indiana. They're bringing back pretty much everybody from that coaching staff that took the team to the national championship, won the national championship, and capped off a 16-0 miracle season. Coaching matters. And, you can knock Matt Rule for, quote-unquote, hiring his buddies initially. You can certainly point to the fact that the people he didn't hire that were not his buddies, namely Tony White.
Yeah.
Right?
Very successful.
Did pretty well. Pot roast did pretty well. Right? What did we go into last year talking about? What's it going to look like when he has a new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator? This year, he's got a new defensive coordinator, a new special teams coordinator, and a new starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. Well, you're trying to design an offense, and that's what Dana Holgorsen is charged with, that fits Anthony Calandria, and maybe establishes some sort of true identity after basically spending 2 years built entirely around Dylan. So that would be, the staff part of it is my argument, to point to a rebuild. Ultimately, I don't think it matters. It's all semantics. It's garbage. And what matters is what Nebraska does this year.
If the product looks better in the back half of the season, more so than it has the last 2 years, then you can clearly call it part of the building process that Matt Rule has been trying to emulate and trying to let the people know we're not stepping back. We're just continuing to move forward, and this is part of that process. Time will tell. You're right. It's just fun July conversation. Right?
It is a fun July conversation.
Speaking of conversations, we had a chance to catch up with one of the better linebackers in the Big Ten, all Big Ten conference linebacker, and Charles Correa with Purdue. Not on Huskers schedule, but always great to talk to some of these student athletes. He was kind enough to join us. We're going to play that for you next here on Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Boomstock is back, and we're celebrating 5 far-out years. Join Boomer Radio August 29th on the Gene Leahy Mall for Boomstock 2026. Enjoy an evening of classic 60s and 70s vibes with live music from Bozak and Morrissey, Touch of Grey, and The Raw Nerve. Plus food trucks, raffles, games, a full bar, and more. Presented by Mutual of Omaha and benefiting the First Responders Foundation and the Stevens Center. General admission is free. Upgrade to VIP at boomstock.org.
Register to win a whole house generator from AM 590 WOW and Generators for Sale with the Generac Power Play giveaway. Log on to 590WOW.com and tell us what you want to protect when the power goes out, and you'll be registered to win a whole house generator installed at your home, valued at nearly $15,000. There's other great prizes too, like a portable generator and smart home devices. Don't be left in the dark. Register today and see contest rules at 590WOW.com.
Feeling stiff, sore, or worn down? 42 Degrees may be able to help. Their knowledgeable team listens first and explains wellness-focused options for everyday comfort with no pressure. Learn more at 42degrees.com. Trusted by Mom.
When downtime isn't an option, don't get your feathers ruffled. Call RNC Livestock Services in Fremont, providing reliable, professional support for producers with expert maintenance and repairs for chicken, hog, and dairy farms. RNC Livestock Services is dedicated to helping farmers protect their investments and ready to wrangle all your livestock equipment parts and service needs. RNC Livestock keeps your operation moving. Find them online at rnclivestockservices.com or call 402-704-2770.
Hi, this is Dave Navity. Starting August 1st, every Saturday, right here on AM 590 WOW, my show, Saturday Mornings with Dave Navity, is the place to be. We'll cover news, politics, current events, and anything else my brain decides to conjure up. One promise, it'll be entertaining, and it'll be the right way to start your Saturday morning. Starting August 1st, join me 6 to 9 every Saturday morning right here on AM 590 WOW.
Tired of aches slowing you down? 42 Degrees supports everyday wellness with trained, approachable staff and clear guidance on comfort-focused options. No guessing, no pressure. Learn more at 42degrees.com. Trusted by Mom.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
We may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deers Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at deersford.com, Fremont's best award-winning dealership.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. We're not a chain, not a box store, but a locally owned community pharmacy that knows our customers. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, except all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
All right, day 2 of Big Ten Media Days. Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW ESPN Omaha as we continue our coverage here from Chicago. And it's just always kind of fun, even when they're not on the schedule for Nebraska, to talk about some of the other coaches and just the other student athletes that we see here. Very happy to be joined here by Charles Correa, linebacker for Purdue. And first of all, we got to talk about the fit, the suit, what goes into what you're going to wear at Big Ten Media Days when you know you're going to be repping Purdue and get a chance to kind of to flash it up a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. This is my first tailored suit, so I was really grateful. Ooh. It was a cool process getting everything fitted, and seeing it out in action is awesome. Got the special inside.
Yeah, what do we got there?
Some floral print. Obviously, I'm from Hawaii, so being able to incorporate that into the suit in the lining has been really cool. Fits great. I'm not one for wearing suits very often, but seeing it on is awesome.
There you go.
Hawaii to Las Vegas, where you began your collegiate career, probably not that big of an adjustment, but Las Vegas to Purdue and the winters and the cold there, that's certainly got to be something that's pretty big. How do you deal with the weather change?
Yeah, it's been crazy. Everything transition wise from Hawaii to Las Vegas. I went to high school in Las Vegas for my junior year, so that transition was smooth, obviously. And then coming out here, I'd say the summers and the spring is awesome. It's beautiful in West Lafayette. The sun's out. It doesn't get too hot. Doesn't get too cold during those times. But I will say the winter was a little crazy for me. Not used to walking around in a foot of snow or anything like that, or having to go out put on 5 layers of clothes just to go to the grocery store or something. So it's been a great transition. But yeah, I'm grateful to be there.
We're talking to linebacker from Purdue, Charles Correa. You know, you think about just this whole, you know, pomp and circumstance and all of the glitz and glamour that comes with Big Ten Media Days. You know, you get to wear the suit, you get to, you know, TV appearances as well as radio. But then it also signals that fall camp is here. Fall camp is right around the corner. And just for you getting ready for this season after just an outstanding season you had last year, leading the Boilermakers with TFLs, what is just this kind of signal for you guys being days away from starting fall camp?
I think we're just itching for some football, man, to be completely honest with you. Fall camp, like you said, is right around the corner. And if you've ever been at a fall camp, you know those days kind of get blended together.
Yeah.
And before you know it, that game week is there. So I think everyone's just excited to throw the pads on, throw the helmet on again, coming up, and let's play some football. That's what we're all here for.
You know, we've heard, I think, a lot of coaches comment on 5 for 5. As a player, that changed the eligibility system. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I think it's a great landscape that college football is evolving to. I didn't redshirt my freshman year, so now being able to choose that 5 for 5 rule could be something that I take advantage of. I think it'll benefit a lot of players in certain ways, and yeah, college football is ever changing nowadays, and I'm just excited to keep going with it.
Charles, let's talk about this Purdue team, and I know you guys are looking to just continue to move up and get there. You look at the schedule; it's a challenge. You want anything in the Big Ten is always going to be a challenge, but you know, now having a big taste of it and looking for bigger things this year, not only individually but as a team. What do you like about this team? What gives you the most confidence going into 26?
I think how close we are. We're such a tight-knit group this year. Everyone's hanging out with each other in the facility, outside the facility. It's something that we didn't really have last year, something that I feel like was missing in our culture. And now being this year, everyone knows each other. Everyone loves being around each other. We went to paintballing all together as a whole team. Like, that was awesome, just being able to be around guys who play our position group or who are even on the other side of the ball. And everyone has just come together is going to be on display.
Were you on the winning side of the paintball game?
I'll say I was on a little bit of both. It gets a little fun. We were kind of out there. There was not enough action, so we're kind of just running through stuff, getting lit up. But it was just a good time to be around each other.
Charles, you follow Coach Odom from UNLV to Purdue, and man, did you pop off last year? What changed for you? What was there any one thing that clicked for you that really contributed to your success last year that you can build off of this year heading into your junior season?
Yeah, I think Coach Odom trusted me to bring me out here from UNLV, not having a lot of snaps my freshman year, but going into a big role in arguably the best conference in the country. He had my back 100%, and that gave me the utmost confidence to go out there and play like, you know, those times when you're a little kid, you know, just go out there and have fun and know that you're playing against thousands of people. But at the end of the day, football is a game, and you have to enjoy your time out there. And when you play free, play fast, and enjoy your time, that's when you're going to play some of the best ball.
When you think about this defense in 2026, what do you think and hope will be the identity of what you guys bring this year?
ATK is our identity. Attack. We're always on attack. That's something that I'm really excited for. We have so much depth at all three levels: D-line, D-ends, linebackers, and the secondary as well. So I'm really excited to just see a bunch of guys be able to get the opportunity to play and see this defense attack all year long.
Have you seen your team's quarterback, Ryan Brown, progress throughout the course of this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, he's been working his tail off. He's catching flights down to Texas numerous times. He's probably been there 5+ times this summer just to go work with his quarterback coach, and he's taking receivers and tight ends down there. And just to see him, he's always in the building watching film, whatever it is. He's worked his tail off. He knows how much he's riding on this season and how much the team is counting on him, and that's a responsibility that he's excited for and that he knows he can handle, and the whole team is behind him. So we're excited to watch him play this year.
It's Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. Just a couple quick questions. We'll let you get going. And I know doing this all throughout the day kind of becomes a blur for you. But, you know, when you do think of this conference and just kind of even going back to last year, and as we talked about, just a guy that really showed up on the defensive scene as one of the better defenders in all of the conference. Is there a game of last year or just even a moment with that schedule you guys had that stands out to you where, you just kind of welcome that challenge? Anyone in particular that you kind of look at, whether it was individual running back that you got to chase down, quarterback, or just a game, an opponent in particular that you remember?
I'd say what really had that moment for me was kind of the first play of the year against Ball State, a smaller opponent, obviously, but being able to just make that first tackle of the game, a tackle for loss to kind of set the tone for the year, and then kind of carrying that into Big Ten play. Illinois was another big one. Obviously, they're great coaching staff, and they had a great running back room, guys who big running backs, smaller running backs, just that diversity and obviously a great quarterback. So that was another big game, and even USC, man. I could go on and on. To be honest with you,
as you start thinking about it, right?
Yes. I mean, when I'm out there on the field and I look to the opposing sideline and I see Lincoln Riley calling plays and we're trying to stop Lincoln Riley, like that's something that you grow up is like, man, that's after the game. You don't realize it in the game, but after the game, it really hits home, and it's truly special to be in this conference.
Charles Correa, Purdue linebacker, with us here on Handley and Hansen. As you look ahead to this schedule this year, what game gets you the most excited? Is it UCLA going back to California again, Notre Dame, Penn State, Iowa, Indiana at the end of the year? What gets you going?
Man, there's so many. I'd say UCLA. Going out west, I'm going to have probably about 50 family members at that game. All the people from Hawaii. That's the one game they can make. So that's one that's definitely on the bucket list. Playing in the Rose Bowl is what I'm really excited for. And then Penn State. I mean, there's so much history in that stadium, and going into that environment, and man, I can go on to Iowa. I've heard stories about Iowa. Like there's so many that I'm really excited for. So I'm just excited for the whole year.
You guys got a heck of a schedule, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
Charles Correa, linebacker for Purdue. Hey, really appreciate you spending time with us. All the best here this upcoming season, and congrats on a great start so far.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time.
That's Handley and Hansen on AM 590. More coming your way. Don't go anywhere.
With school just around the corner, don't forget to buy Nordic Naturals DHA products. DHA is essential for normal brain and eye development, and it may help attention, behavior, and reading. And these supplements are on sale the whole month of August at No Name Nutrition Markets. Available in capsules, gummies, and liquid form.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
How are the Omaha Supernovas redefining professional volleyball? Because no one supports the game like Novas Nation. General Manager John Cook has assembled a roster featuring former Husker Merritt Beeson and stars from around the volleyball world, all with one goal: bring another championship to Omaha. Be there for all 13 home matches at CHI Health Center this January and experience the loudest, most electric atmosphere in professional volleyball. Secure your season tickets today at supernovas.com and join the world's #1 volleyball fan base.
On the upcoming edition of the Great Outdoor Radio Show here on AM 590 WOW, we'll give you some hot tips for your summer fishing. Special guest, Nebraska fisheries biologist Daryl Bauer. You know him. Daryl joins me, Greg Wagner, and you 9 to 10 Saturday morning here on AM 590 WOW. The Great Outdoor Radio Show is presented by Cubby's Convenience Stores, Daniel's Produce, Host Coffee, and Stoysich House of Sausage.
It's Gorilla Car Wash. Jeff Ballinger here. #1 with the touchless car washes for how long?
Jack, we're running on 2 decades now, and I don't know a lot of things that have been #1 for 20 consecutive years, but Gorilla Car Wash has.
Let me see. I'm trying to think. I can't come up with anything. The great thing about Gorilla Car Wash, it's convenient, open 24/7.
And we're locally owned, Jack. It's nice to have local people involved. Touchless automatics, and guess what? The customers seem to love us 2 decades in a row.
GorillaWash.com. When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Hi, my name is Ty, and I recently was told that I needed to get a new roof by 2 different contractors. I was freaking out considering that my roof wasn't even that old, but I saw a commercial on Roof Max, and I gave them a call and have them come out and look at the roof. They came out, they said I was eligible for the Roof Max product that actually rejuvenated the shingles and makes my roof look like it's a brand new roof that was just recently put on. I would recommend Roof Max to anyone.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Brent Hansen, Nick Handley back with you in Chicago. Glad to have you along with us here on AM 590 WOW. More details filtering out here from the Troy Dannon side session. We'll get to those in a second. Anything you're interested in that Troy Dannon has laid out to this point, call us 531-895-0590, especially as we kind of pertain to some of the changes that could be coming to the conference schedule. This note from Sam McEwen's notebook from that little side press conference stuck out to me, Nick, as Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti faced questions about whether his league would mandate a non-conference game against Power 4 competition. Troy Dannon said the league is exploring playing 10 conference games. There's a big caveat to this, though, Nick, and as we consider the elimination of conference championship games that sort of trickled through yesterday in Petitti's statements, but here's this quote from Dannon. We're all assuming a playoff expansion to 24 teams right now, Dannon.
Yeah, and I think we touched on this a little bit earlier in the week, and that is you would love to see even if it was an SEC Big Ten alliance. I know. I love bringing the alliance back. I mean,
it was okay. We can leave that behind.
It was at Big Ten Media Days of about 5 years ago that we were inundated with the Big Ten ACC alliance. But, with that Big Ten SEC alignment, maybe that's the better way to put it, at least those two being the major power brokers when it does come to the Power 4, I think that you have to look at the intrigue, especially from the fan standpoint, if you're pitting those types of teams together. So if we're expanding that, if you're getting a Big Ten versus an SEC team every year, would be great. If you can at the very least get a Big Ten team, if we're just talking about Big Ten teams in Nebraska, to play a Power 4 team every year, a major Power 4 team every year, the fans win with that. And I know that as we get into different areas of college football, there becomes that, okay, if you're going to expand the playoff, does it become a lot more feasible for coaches to take that chance? We were just talking off the air to the representative and the CEO of the Peach Bowl and just some of the challenges that come with trying to schedule those non-conference opening weekend games where, coaches and athletic directors, they want to do it, but then, some of them, whether it might be the athletic director or the coach, might want to hold back a little bit.
If you go to 10, does that only leave open room for about one cupcake, one power team, maybe 2 power teams if that ends up being required? Like, I think it was interesting, especially because it kind of leads into scheduling. Nebraska, additional note, down the road, somebody asked me this week how far ahead people schedule on some of these non-conference series. Nebraska, according to Troy Dannon, down the road on a couple Power 4 home-and-home non-conference series dating deep into the 2030s. Of course, still coming up, Oklahoma 29-30. That's a home-and-home. Arizona 28-31. and then Oklahoma State in 34 and 35. And then you got the home game left for Cincinnati from 33. So
I know you have to do it, but what's the league's going to look like? What are the mandates going to look like? I know you can't just wait around and wait for college football to sort of land its plane for the next decade or so, because it's constantly changing. But when there are schedule announcements that take place of, okay, in 2036 and 37, they're going to have a home and home with Team X, it does nothing for me. Because the likelihood, especially if it's a major Power 4 conference foe, the likelihood of that actual game or that home and home sticking is, at this point in this day and age, is still unlikely.
Well, and the site, is it actually going to be a home and home? Or are you going to move it to a neutral site?
Yeah, could we have another Arrowhead game?
I think people would be very much be on board with that, as long as there isn't any construction. People would very much be on board for another Arrowhead game.
If that happens again, just go the night before.
Right.
If I could go
I think
back,
Nebraska fans will learn their lesson on that.
Oh, my God.
My other question to you is 10 games enough in an 18-team conference? My answer is it's not.
I think it is.
You're still playing you're playing over half the conference. That's good.
You are.
But it's not an accurate enough you could still luck your way into missing the 3 best teams in the conference. You could still find your way into a pretty easy schedule. I don't think it's enough. But with an 18-team conference, it might be the best you can do.
I think you go more than 10, then all of a sudden the amount of focus that's going to be on that one non-conference game.
And that's why I'm saying that's the best you can do.
Yeah, you can't go beyond that. I mean, I think 10 is even kind of ambitious, but as the conference has expanded, and let's say we get to 19 at some point, 10 games, 10 conference games is a little more than half of your conference. So unless we want to start looking at playing 13 actual games in the regular season, which there's no way that's going to happen because the college football playoff is expanded at some point, whether it's 16 or the 24 that is being talked about here at Big Ten Media Days. To me, that's just unrealistic. That, okay, then why we even have non-conference games?
Sure.
Let's just have one exhibition game. Don't even count it towards your record. You get an exhibition game against anybody you want, and then you just go right into the regular season, and that regular season is all conference games. I mean, that might be where we're headed. I don't think anytime soon, but you start thinking of 10 out of the 12 regular season games that you can play, it just puts so much more focus on who you schedule for those 2 non-conference games, more so than you have right now.
There's some updates on some ticket things. I have an inkling about I want to wait to see if we get a chance to talk to Troy in person tomorrow to dive into those further. Otherwise, we can rehash some of those tomorrow. I think that some of that stuff is pretty interesting. Also, just a side note, as we talk about non-conference scheduling and some of the updates that we've got out there, Brett McMurphy from On3 reporting an extension in the Cyhawk series, which was a topic of conversation yesterday. Iowa and Iowa State will play their series for the next 4 years at the very least, to 2031.
It sounded, and Beth Getz, she was speaking to the media here yesterday, doing a side session, much like Troy Dannon is doing here the next couple days. It sounded like everything that she had verbalized with the media that it was heading there, that was something that meant a lot. And I know even a lot of the different not the coaches, but even Tony Bettini was asked during his session about that particular series, that he wants that, with Iowa, Iowa State, and any other that involve those consistent rivalries that involve conference-to-conference games, that they want to be able to preserve that. So that's what we're looking for. All right, we're going to get back to, by the way, more postseason and College Bowl and Fiesta Bowl talk with the CEO of the Fiesta Bowl. Is going to join us coming up here on Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW.
Say aloha to bold island flavor at Hawaiian Bros. Surf the savory wave into juicy huli huli chicken, luau roasted pork, spicy kilauea, or Molokai chicken. Then chill it down with a light and refreshing Dole pineapple soft serve. Hawaiian Bros offers catering and group meals, making it easy to impress your guests without the work and let the luau begin. Now in 3 Omaha locations, it's never been easier to take your taste buds on a mini vacation at Hawaiian Bros and eat like you're on island time. Hawaiian Bros, serving summer to Nebraska year-round. Now open in Elkhorn.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army 7 Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
The 7th annual Suburban Rotary Show and Shine has been rescheduled for August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F. Proceeds support Suburban Rotary's youth programs. Boomer Radio will be spinning tunes. Boxer Barbecue will be there with their food truck, and there'll be a split the pot raffle. Sponsored by Woodhouse Auto Family, Sonic, Security National Bank, Color Vision, and AM 590 WOW. Show and shines from 10 to 2. Hope to see you August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F.
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. At VRX, we take the time to get your medications organized, simplified, and tailored to you. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, except all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Handley and Hansen continuing here live from Big Ten Media Days, day number 2 of the event, day 1 of 2 for us, wrapping things up tomorrow. Nebraska will be on the docket as well as other teams. Don't forget, starting next week, you'll have a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Huskers home opener on September 5th, plus tailgate passes, plus WOW swag. Be listening for details. What do you got over there? You're trying to get my attention on something. My eyes don't go from one thing to the other.
That's true. You didn't read the whole thing.
I have old man eyes, so I didn't even see what you're trying to send me. You're trying to show me
Eric Moses, we're still waiting to get a chance to talk to him, the CEO of the Festival. We may slide that around. But while we wait, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Protect College Sports Act. That's still in sort of this editing revision mode with you have the recess hanging over it, sort of like this dark cloud that nobody really knows what's going on.
It's deadline counter deadline.
I want to read to you. This guy's getting killed for this, by the way. A tweet from an agent. So part of the stipulations in this bill is, okay, you have the $21.5 million for revenue, then adding an additional a cap.
Yes.
Of about $20 million. Now, that number has fluctuated several times, even in the last 48 hours, from as much as $50 million initially, not an additional, but a total between the revenue sharing and the additional cap money instituted by this bill. And then another $5 million for women's athletics that is specifically dedicated to that. That's a yearly expense. So this agent, Darren Heitner, reads, let's talk about this new retention pool of $20 million. To be clear, this isn't a win for players. It's for schools. $20 million per school to pay guys not to leave is a restriction on movement, not a benefit to it. It's an anti-transfer tool. Schools are already spending more than the $21.3 million cap, he puts in quotes. So he's right. Schools are spending more than the cap. And by the way, unless it kind of goes back to our conversation yesterday, like unless there is a clear plan laid out of who's enforcing the rules here, I have a hard time, even if this bill does get passed, seeing how teams don't still find ways to get around the CSC and get around this cap, right? That's one of the larger, we're talking about large-scale playoff expansion, small-scale problem in college football. Large-scale problem, who's the actual correct enforcer of the rules? We just saw, again, with a Tennessee player earlier today, another ticky-tack suspension or restriction coming from the NCAA. And then even earlier than that, we're talking about Wild West. Ole Miss is suing 2 former players, including 1 former Husker in Princewell Uman Mielen, who transferred from Ole Miss to LSU, adding more intrigue, by the way, to that game.
I'm going to take this all the way back to what was made a huge deal 2 weeks ago, and then Greg Sankey tried to tamp it down and make it sound like, no, you guys, you misunderstood what I was saying. Here's my transcript. Tell me where I said the SEC is leaving the NCAA and forming its own entity. But here's the reality of that. To the major issue that you talk about right there, who's governing this? Who is going to enforce this? I am convinced, and I've always been convinced, if you want that full, transparent governance, especially in the high-stakes game of college football and the money that's been involved right now, that's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You break off Big Ten, SEC, bring the Big 12 and ACC, Power 4. You guys all start your own thing. Then you can put the powers in place to govern all of that stuff. And you can all collectively come together, athletic directors, coaches, everybody involved, consultants that are part of this whole thing. Get agents involved and come together. You don't need legislation for this.
Yes.
Come together, have a transfer rule, have all of those things that we're talking about with this bill. That's the best way you do it, is you break away. That's the benefit. And that's why I know everyone's like, oh, my gosh, the SEC is trying to put a gun to everyone else's head. No.
There's got to be something.
You know what? They could pull that off there. That's how you enforce these things.
Yes.
By creating your own system.
Look
and
at
you
that.
can enforce it.
Eric's got a great crew.
This
How about this?
This is
the first time somebody has picked up the headset and like presented it to you.
It's like
get it on my head.
You got one earphone. There you go. There you go. Now you're good.
Eric Moses, the CEO of the Fiesta Bowl, and you have like a pit crew just bringing you in. I know you're going from one place to the other, but how are you today?
I'm doing great, man. It's always good to be at media days as we get ready for the best time of the year, which is college football season.
Yes, we get a chance to kind of put the talking season away. We got fall camp around the corner. I know you guys always hard at work. Even when last year's Fiesta Bowl completes, you're already thinking about the next one. So tell us about the excitement of the 2026-27 version here.
Well, last year we had inarguably the best game of the playoffs with Ole Miss and Miami as a semifinal. This year and the next 2 years will be a quarterfinal and then a semifinal again. So we're excited about that. It's nice to have more than 7 days to know which teams are going to play in your game to be able to promote. So we like that little, elbow room we're going to have to be able to promote things. So super excited. 12 teams as far as we know for this year. And we'll see what happens in coming years. But so much more excitement in what's going on in college football. I think, as you guys know, expanding the field gives more access and opportunity to more teams, more fan bases that has more people following along because my team might be able to get in it. My team might have a shot to win. We remember the days where if you lost one game, oh my God, you'll never be able to play for the national championship. And so we're just excited about continuing to refine the playoffs, working with our partners at the CFP, and to make it the premier sports property in this country.
I want to ask you about flag football, and that's a side initiative you guys are entering into. Nebraska has just added as its 25th collegiate sports women's flag football. So what are you guys doing with that?
So last year we had the first of its kind invitational collegiate women's flag football tournament, the Fiesta Bowl Flag Football Classic. 8 teams from all over the country, literally from coast to coast. Florida, Georgia, Charlotte, Alabama State, GCU, ASU, and USC. And our thing is we're treating those young ladies as pioneers that they are in their sport and treating them just like we treat our bowl team. So paid for them to come out, put them up, fed them, gifting suite, media, recovery lounges, all the stuff. And the guys that come out and play in these big games, they're appreciative, right? But they're focused, right? They got their ears pinned back. They're ready to win a football game. These young ladies were just overtaken by the hospitality that we showed them because these are mostly club teams.
Yeah.
Other than Alabama State at the time, which is a varsity program, the rest of them are club teams. And so, it's so cute. Some of the players were in one of the lounges, and this young lady turned to one of my team members and said, "Hey, can I have like one of those waters?" And we were like, "Hey, look, everything in here is for you. You can have whatever you want. This is all for you." And so, but it just warmed your heart to see the humility, because they're all trying to make certain that this sport becomes a varsity sport as we get ready for the 2028 Olympics.
I know that's such a big part of the decisions you guys make, whether we're talking about flag football, we're talking about the Fiesta Bowl, the student athlete experience. You've seen that evolve in the years. What's the best way you can describe the student athlete experience, especially when we get to the actual Fiesta Bowl in the quarterfinal this year?
Yeah, in some ways, unfortunately, that has eroded some, right? I mean, you hear a lot of coaches now talking about their CFP experience as a business trip, right? They treat it like an away game because the idea is win that game and move on because you're trying to win a national championship, right? So we literally don't do anything with the teams outside of the hotels anymore, other than media day and practice. That's about it. Whereas in the past, we'd have them building wagons with Girl Scouts. We'd have them, doing stuff with the Salvation Army or the Special Olympics or what have you. There's really no time for that now because they're on a much tighter schedule and they're pursuing a national championship. And so we understand that. We try to do as much as we can in the hotel to make that cool, to make that experience great. And what you learn, if you're somebody like me who grew up on the East Coast and knew very little about the Southwest, we want to give these young people an opportunity to learn about our state, right? To be exposed. And if we can bring that experience and those experiences to them at the hotel, then we try to do the best we can to do that.
Obviously, Nebraska has great history with the Fiesta Bowl. We just spent the last 3 weeks replaying a bunch of classic Husker football games. And, of course, the 96 Fiesta Bowl was included in there. What can fans expect just from around the country? What can they find regarding Nebraska's history with this game?
Certainly go to our website. We've got a bunch of history. That it's so funny that you mentioned 96 games. So as Scott knows, when I interviewed for the job, I told them my own Fiesta Bowl kind of memory is that 96 game with Tommy Frazier running down the right sideline. And when I met Tommy, I told him about that. Because I remember I was home from law school. I was in New Jersey. It was snowing outside. I was in this hotel bar watching this game, and he was like running forever into the end zone. And so, so many great memories. And our game, because we never had conference ties, you got to see teams play each other that would otherwise never play each other, right? Even as early as TCU and Michigan, or the Oklahoma Boise State game with the proposal at the end, and the Statue of Liberty play, all that kind of stuff made our game really, really special. But yeah, Nebraska, we're ready for Big Red Nation to come back out and do some things.
I love me some Arizona. I absolutely do. And I'm tired of only going to Arizona to kick off the college baseball season in February. I'd love to come out maybe a month earlier.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of Nebraska fans would too. Eric, we got a couple more minutes with you, but we're in the heart of the conversation. You kind of alluded to this too with college football playoff expansion. We've already seen it go to 12 now. There's that talk of possibly 16, possibly 24. From a CEO standpoint of a major bowl that is a big part of the college football playoff, how does that number impact you, whether it would be maybe 16 or even 24? How much discussion do you guys have as a group about that?
Well, right now the sole holdout to 24 seems to be the SEC, who's still kind of evaluating things. We're in a pretty unique position because we have one bowl that's in the CFP with the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, and then we have the Cactus Bowl, which is a Big 10, Big 12 matchup. And so we're on both sides of that issue. I think what will happen if you move to 24 is there'll be fewer teams that can qualify to play in the 40 or so bowl games that exist today. And that'll be unfortunate for those communities that come together to support those games and to put those games on year over year. There'll be some natural contraction, I think, that goes on there. I think more access is a good thing, right? We've seen how much more excited people are. Did a big number for our national championship last year because you got the Indianas and the Miamis of the world that are coming in and resurgent programs and stuff like that. So, I mean, look at the World Cup, what we saw with the expansion of that field and how many more people and countries were involved. So I think it gets bigger than 12. It certainly don't happen this year, but I think that's our fate moving forward.
About a minute left here. What gets you going? I mean, the reason we're all in this, we love this sport.
So I will tell you, I love the sport, but what we're able to do at our foundation, which is, our mission really is to drive positive economic impact in the state of Arizona and to deliver charitable resources to communities throughout the state. Seeing the direct line between putting on great events, including these 2 football games, the money we raise, and then pouring that money back into communities in Arizona, giving $1.5 million to teachers last year. This year it'll be $1.75 million. Seeing that connection, there's nothing more rewarding than that. When you call a teacher to tell her that she's got a $2,500 grant coming her way for her classroom and she starts crying on the telephone, you can't beat that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Eric, I really appreciate you sharing that and just spending some time with us and lighting us on the Fiesta Bowl, because we think of it as the great memories, the games that have taken place and the magnitude of those games, but also those stories off to the side are great too. But keep up the great work with you and your entire team.
Appreciate you guys. And like I said, we'll leave the light on for both the games.
There we go.
That'll be great. All right, coming up in hour number 4, we're going to wrap things up here on day number 1 for us here at Big Ten Media Days, day number 2 officially here in Chicago. Going to get into a little bit more of what we found out today from Troy Dannon when it comes to the Nebraska running back room. No, he didn't give us a depth chart, but he did give us a little clarity of Mekhi Nelson and the hurdles, or maybe lack thereof, that he has, at least from a university standpoint, and what that does look like. Also, now officially having a Penn State transfer running back on the roster. All of these are going to be topics tomorrow with Matt Rule and the players, but we did get a little bit of inside knowledge from that as Troy Dannon spoke to some of the local media members today. We'll get into the impact of that for sure. Also got some NFL stuff we want to get to. I know. You got Tony Romo.
We're back on that
stuff. Yeah, that'll be fun. Never a bad time, but we are having a good time here out at the Hilton in Chicago. It's Big Ten Media Days. We're back with our final hour. It's our happy hour coming your way here on Handley and Hansen.
The legend has returned. Sports Talk Huskers. AM 590 WOW Omaha.
Here's your updated Metro Weather Outlook.
I'm Ed Benkin. It was a busy day at NFL training camps with several players going down to injuries. Bengals defensive end Shamar Stewart was carted off the field at Bengals practice, suffering a left leg injury. Saints defensive lineman Brian Bradsey suffered a knee injury. It is feared it could be a torn ACL. Panthers rookie wide receiver Chris Brazzell II went down in practice, as first reported by The Athletic and confirmed by ESPN. Brazzell suffered a moderate LCL tear in his left knee and is expected to be out 8 weeks. Meanwhile, at Chargers camp, Justin Herbert talked about the urgency heading into this season for both himself and his team.
I think there's always a sense of urgency. I think, every year you're doing your best, working as hard as you can. And, I think the guys are focused and dialed in this year. And, I thought OTAs went great. Camp, I'm looking forward to all the work that we're going to put in. And, I think guys are really excited about it.
Meanwhile, Vegas coach Clint Kubiak says Kirk Cousins will get the snaps with the top offensive unit. In baseball, the Orioles were down 7-0 to Tarek Skubal, and the Tigers rallied for a 10-9, 12-inning win in what could be Skubal's last appearance in Detroit with the trade deadline approaching.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Keep your career moving forward with growth opportunities, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces. Go to careers.progressive.com and apply today.
Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
The 7th annual Suburban Rotary Show and Shine has been rescheduled for August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F. Proceeds support Suburban Rotary's youth programs. Boomer Radio will be spinning tunes. Boxer Barbecue will be there with their food truck, and there'll be a split-the-pot raffle. Sponsored by Woodhouse Auto Family, Hub International, Equity Bank, the Schubert and Lassig Group, and AM 590 WOW. Show and Shines from 10 to 2. Hope to see you August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F.
My
wife and I were watching television one evening, and we saw an ad come on, and it was for Roof Max. So after I had 4 or 5 people out, he came out, and sure enough, it turned out to be a great process, especially being able to replace some of the shingles that came off. I'd be happy to give a recommendation. You guys do such an outstanding job, and I've watched you all the way through the process, and I just have nothing but praise for how careful and neat and really exacting crew was and what they did.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
Kim from Jill of All Trades impressed me so much with our office renovation that I had to bring her out to my house. She transformed our backyard with new concrete patio, composite steps, and an amazing pergola. It's rare to find someone you trust with your business and your home, but Kim has earned that trust. She truly is a Jill of All Trades.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army 7 Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Have you ever heard of lion's mane mushrooms? It's a mushroom that looks like a brain, and the supplement supports memory that may help with anxiety or depression. Also contains antioxidants and fiber that can support gut and immune health. Capsules of lion's mane are on sale all this month at both No Name Nutrition markets.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Welcome to the Hoppy Hour on Handley and Hansen. Brought to you by Monolithic Brewing. Carved from a single shared vision. Delivering high quality, well-crafted beers. Now, let's crack this hour wide open.
Yeah, crack this hour open we shall. The Hoppy Hour, our final hour on Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW, brought to you by our good friends at Monolithic Brewing, 120th and 4th. They've got events coming up, including their pizza pop-up with chefs Ben and David of Virtuoso Pizza. That's coming up on Tuesday, August 4th. And then one of my favorite events, too, the August 7th annual Jorts weather party. Are you a jorts guy?
No.
Your generation is bringing jorts back. I don't know.
My sister's boyfriend wears them relatively frequently, and he is a great individual. I like him a lot. If I'm going to put a knock on him at all, is that he wears jorts. I can't do it. I would never be caught dead wearing jorts.
If you go to Monolithic's annual, it'll be the 5th annual Jorts weather party.
You're saying I'm not going to be there?
Well, I mean, you don't have to wear jorts, but they have a very good jorts weather session hazy IPA. That I know you can get
so
down
that's the
with.
selling point.
Yes, and of course they did just tap the Blackberry Shandy earlier in the week.
That just sounds good.
The weather's just so dang hot in Nebraska. It's a little cooler here. It wasn't as humid here, I noticed here in Chicago.
Well, I can tell you one place it's considerably cooler.
Yeah,
where we are right now.
Oh my God! So Grant was the genius. You owe me one because I talked you out. You said, "So are you going to do like the polo and shorts?" And I said,
"I was just asking what you're up to."
I think I'm gonna rock some some golf pants or maybe some joggers in the our AM 590 WOW polos, which we have a home and away. We're in the away.
You'll see the away tomorrow.
Yeah, the away whites tomorrow. That I'm like, hey, you know what? We'll be in a convention center. I didn't think it'd be this cold, But I'm like,
it's surprising. It's like they're freezing us out right now. I feel like it's got colder as the day's going on. I'm shaking like a leaf over here.
I've seen other people, though, have the same idea you did, at least in some of the female persuasion that have been walking around with dresses, and they're just shivering. They're like they're holding their arms because they're so cold. And I think people are just kind of leaving the convention center.
Well, because it's the middle of the summer, there's nobody there to to give them a coat or anything.
Yeah. I'm like, if I had one, I'd be wearing it. Sorry.
And I'm glad we're wearing pants just for the for the professionalism of it all.
I think everybody here is probably happy that we're wearing pants too. But I've seen some people in shorts. I don't know how they're managing. They have to leave the ballroom just for a little relief. Normally, I want to leave a certain area to get relief in the AC. I'm trying to now avoid the AC. But
crazy, by the way, we have two separate bowl presidents, CEOs on the show today, and both with completely different views on an expanded CFP. And I know that perhaps that's not the most important issue that most Nebraska, and trust me, folks, tomorrow is going to be all Nebraska all the time. Like, wire to wire. But we've talked a lot. We spent a lot of time talking about the CFP, expanded CFP today. I'm really interested in the fact that, again, two different CEOs, two different semifinal, quarterfinal playoff bowls, and two completely different perspectives on expansion.
Interesting it is, because they're both in the same spot when it comes to, and not that this shouldn't matter very much, but they were both a college football semifinal bowl last year. This year they'll go back to a quarterfinal. I understand I understand maybe staying neutral on the topic and waiting to maybe see which way the wind is going to blow. But when we were talking to Mr. Epps in the Peach Bowl, that they were, let's hold off. Let's keep 12's good. We like it.
Well, look, he was. I think you're not even fully characterizing it. Like, he was very firmly in keep it at 12. Mm-hmm. And just like John Fanta earlier today, who I think probably made the best argument that I've heard for keeping it at 12, which is my camp. I mean, among other things, diminishing the regular season. But good God, we've only had it at 12 for 3 seasons. Like, let's take a minute and breathe and add some more data points into the evaluation of the system.
Yeah, I'll agree that was one that I think everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, because as I mentioned, David Epps was very much team 12.
Right.
We're talking to Eric Moses, who was, hey, you know what? More opportunity, creates a little bit more excitement. And I don't want to say he's wrong in all facets when it does come to competition, but I think for a lot of the people that you and I talk to, and whether it's locally or even hearing from some of the national guys like John Fanta, I think everybody thinks 24 is way too much. I think John's point to what you just brought up there is one that maybe isn't discussed enough of. We've barely been doing 12.
Right.
And, that's why I always thought it was interesting when we're going to go to 4 and just double it to 8, which I said this on Monday. I thought 8 was a good number. They're like, you know what? Let's go from 4. Screw 8. Let's go to 12. And so you go to 12. And then so now you're a couple years into this thing and we want to double it. We want to go from 12 to 24. It's like, I'm okay with 16, no more than that. But John's right that I think that there is that idea of let's see this thing sort of breathe a little bit. Maybe we can settle into it and find a little bit more value to just keeping it at the number that it is. But then again, as we talked to Eric Moses, he made reference to the World Cup and, being able to expand that and how exciting that was. And I think
people are real polarized about that.
I think exactly. And see, I wouldn't know that world as much because I'm not the soccer guy, not that saying you are the soccer guy or anything, but I do think
more so than you, but yeah,
we're also, when it comes to that, with all due respect to Eric Moses, very, very good conversation we had with him, and they're doing amazing things.
No, you don't need to talk. All due respect there, like, because
I think you're comparing to apples and oranges though when you're talking about the expansion of the World Cup. We're talking about different sports like that too, and different events like that. I think we're looking at excitement levels, yes, here within this country, as opposed to the World Cup, which is global. We know that. but the sports and the way that they're formatted are completely different. That's why I hear what you're saying in theory, not you, but I hear what he's saying in theory, but I don't think it applies to the college football format or the model as far as opening it up so we can just create that much more excitement. And I don't know.
Yeah, I want to give this next bit of conversation, which we teased for people on the running back room, it's due, and close the book here before we hit a break on just this whole playoff expansion discussion. And I think I come down in a similar place as you, right? Like, I think I came into this weekend thinking there is no conceivable way you can make a logical argument to expand to 24 that's believable. And for a number of different reasons from a number of different people this week, we've heard arguments that I disagree with vehemently. It's still wrong. I think it devalues the regular season too much, but they're not unsound arguments. People have some good arguments for it.
I think there has been at least the ability to open people's eyes to why they feel that way. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, if you were to tell me 24 has got to happen, I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard more explanation between some of the coaches here that have talked about it, and even Eric Moses. And I'm saying, okay, I hear what you're saying.
Right.
I don't agree with it.
Yeah, we're on the same place on
that. But
that.
I hear what you're saying. All right, we know that Mekhi Nelson is not going to have any type of university or protocol Title IX hurdles to be active for the Nebraska football team. What does that mean to the running back room? And is there still some hurdles internally for Mekhi Nelson to clear when it comes to his eligibility with the football team? We will discuss that. And what does it do to the running back room? As we continue, it's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW live from Big Ten Media Days.
Some people chase trophies. The crew at Monolithic Brewing, they're chasing the perfect pint. Every small batch is built on creativity, collaboration, and a passion for great beer. But don't come hungry expecting just a pint. The kitchen is serving up unique burgers, wraps, and appetizers that are just as memorable. Throw in new beer releases, fun events, and a welcoming neighborhood atmosphere, and you'll see why people keep coming back to Monolithic Brewing. Monolithic Brewing, small batch beer, monumental flavor. Give your family the gift of peace of mind by pre-planning your funeral arrangements today. At Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, their caring staff is dedicated to helping you make your wishes known in advance, easing emotional burdens and reducing uncertainty during a difficult time. With flexible funding options and affordable rates, Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services is here to help you plan with confidence and care. Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, 2 Omaha locations or online at gsfuneral.com.
Summer is so much more than just nice weather. It means taking out the boat or the golf cart or the Harley out of the garage. But when it's been a few months since those have started up, and they won't, that's where Action Batteries comes in. At Action Batteries, it all starts with us. Whether it's your car battery or your lawn and garden battery, we've been doing it all since 1982. So you can focus on having some fun this summer. Action Batteries Unlimited offers free installation of batteries in most vehicles. Find us at 79th and J Street or online at actionbatteries.com.
When downtime isn't an option, don't get your feathers ruffled. Call RNC Livestock Services in Fremont, providing reliable professional support for producers with expert maintenance and repairs for chicken, hog, and dairy farms. RNC Livestock Services is dedicated to helping farmers protect their investments and ready to wrangle all your livestock equipment parts and service needs. RNC Livestock keeps your operation moving. Find them online at rnclivestockservices.com or call 402-704-2770.
Boomstock is back, and we're celebrating 5 far-out years. Join Boomer Radio August 29th on the Gene Leahy Mall for Boomstock 2026. Enjoy an evening of classic 60s and 70s vibes with live music from Bozak and Morrissey, Touch of Grey, and The Raw Nerve. Plus food trucks, raffles, games, a full bar, and more. Presented by Mutual of Omaha and benefiting the First Responders Foundation and the Stevens Center. General admission is free. Upgrade to VIP at boomstock.org.
In July, fun takes flight at Blackbird Bend Casino. We're celebrating the 34th anniversary of the Omaha Tribe's entry into the gaming industry by giving away $48,000 on Friday, July 31st. Every 10 minutes, a guest will win $500 in cash. At 10 p.m., 2 guests will win $1,000 each, and 1 lucky patron will walk away with $34,000. Claim 1 free entry for the drawings daily on our kiosk and start earning additional entries now. Great gaming, delicious food, and friendly service are just around the bend at Blackbird Bend Casino near Ottawa, Iowa.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army 7 Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
Brent Hansen, Nick Handley with you at Big Ten Media Days in Chicago. I wanted to read this from Shane in the chat. Hello, Shane.
The doctor.
Hard to compare, talking about the college football playoff and the World Cup expansion, hard to compare to a global World Cup that happens every 4 years. Good point from Shane. Hey, you can get at us all throughout the show in that YouTube chat. It was down yesterday. I know why. We fixed it.
Yeah.
It's back today. So also you call us 531-895-0590, 531-895-0590 earlier in the show. And we'll ask this tomorrow is, okay, like, how do you feel if you have Mekhi Nelson back there out there as the running back one? Does it matter to you at all? Is there anything that you feel like that he should have to undergo in terms of anything? Like, the only thing we know right now is that it's going to come down to what Matt Rule says. Does Matt Rule have any sort of internal punishment? I'm going to wager they're going to keep it internal. But
I think so.
We'll expand from here, especially as we discuss the running back room. And Nick, I kind of feel like as we look back on this offseason, the obsession around this position group is something that sort of boggles the mind to me. And I get some of it, especially when you produce an All-American at that position the year before who's no longer going to be with the team and was probably, I would say, actually not even probably, certainly over the last 8 games of the season, probably the only offensive highlight, the primary offensive highlight, and that guy's gone, and you wonder who's going to step up and replace him. Yeah. So I get that. But at the same time, Nebraska has upgraded to a significant degree on the offensive line. And if there's anything that Nebraska, you can say, has got right consistently under Matt Rule to this point, or at least maybe deserves credit for consistently succeeding at over the last couple of years, it's probably the running back position. I mean, you got to look and take a look at Emmett Johnson and say that might be kind of like crowning individual achievement for this program to this point under Matt Rule from a player development perspective.
And that's where I think it goes to E.J. Barthel. And when it's funny because we're talking about the continuity or lack thereof from 25 to 26 when it comes to the coaching staff. E.J. Barthel is there's 2 coaches that are original Matt Rule coaches from his first year that I think are either don't get enough credit or when they do get the credit, they deserve even more than it. And it comes down to a guy like E.J. Barthel, who I think at one point we were wondering when it came to the rotation. You know, you remember they were using running backs in a very odd way
originally.
Right.
And there were times.
There were, you know, and this goes all the way back to the stable of running backs that Nebraska had, and you just didn't know how they were going to be used. And you thought, okay, this seems like maybe it's an Emmett Johnson possession. And then all of a sudden Ramir would show up. And then when you thought, boy, they could sure use Ramir again, you wouldn't see Ramir for 2 quarters. So it was always interesting how they wanted to rotate that. But I think E.J. Barthel, within just the development part of this conversation, I think has been pretty solid at that. And then the other guy, the other guy I'd always bring up when it comes to another coach in the continuity factor is Rob Dvorak on the linebackers. Now, obviously, we're not talking about the LBs right now, but that's another coach that I think is an absolute stud.
Interesting to me because you back him. I think most people in years 1 and year 2 were high on him, and I think that after last year, however, there are some people that probably look at him in year 4 as going into a prove-it year, and there are some people doubting him because of the results of year 3 that you can't blame 5.1 yards per carry allowed wholly on the defensive line, that perhaps the linebackers bear some level of responsibility for that as well.
Yeah, I still put a lot more on the D-line than I do on the linebackers. I did expect Javen Wright to have maybe more of a consistently productive season because I always felt like his athleticism, he was going to be a major playmaker with that linebacking core. And it came at you in bouts, but not as consistent, but that's neither here nor there. But going back to the running back part of this, I think once you look at this room, the biggest question in the offseason was why no major push for another body out of the transfer portal? And what we were told from Matt Rule and Dana Holgerson is they like what they have. And they feel like there's development with some of those younger guys, maybe not the household names. Maybe you don't consider an Isaiah Mosey in now his second year as a full-time running back to be a guy that really grabs your attention. Is going to be a big part of the scouting report for the opposition. But behind the scenes, if that development is taking place, okay, I'll bite. You look at a guy like Mekhi Nelson, okay, I guess once upon a time legal issues aside, there was a guy that showed flashes. There was a guy that in bowl preparation, everyone seemed to really like, and this coaching staff seemed to really like. If you've got 2, even 3 guys that are developing at a rapid pace, and don't forget about Rule as well. There is a lot of praise for him that you've got 2 guys that you can consistently rely on, and you have guys that can separate themselves. I mean, that's what we're looking for, right? It's always good to have the battering ram that can give you the 5 to 6 yards in the fourth quarter because you're wearing them down. But that home run hitter, that consistent home run hitter, you started to see that, and I think that was the work that Emmett Johnson put in the offseason to continue to develop that type of speed and that breakaway speed to have those playmaking opportunities, those home run opportunities. But I still feel like that's collectively been lacking with this running back room.
I think because Nebraska fans are just so tunnel visioned in on this position, and perhaps we as a media group became so tunnel visioned on it because of Emmett Johnson.
Well, and
because he was the offense.
And go back to some of
which is bad.
Go back to some of the great running backs that Nebraska has. We're talking about those classic games we're going through. Even the Amirs, the Roy Halus. I don't even need to go back to the Amon Greens. I mean,
don't leave Rex Burkhead out.
Exactly. You can look at the last 15 years. Yeah. We were spoiled. We absolutely were spoiled.
And so it's funny you bring up Mosey. We were talking earlier about Jeremiah Jones going from receiver to defensive line. I mean, that's another position change, right? Like there's been several of these that have occurred under Rule under different points. Some have worked, some have not. Again, as we discussed earlier, I think it's probably a net neutral throughout his entire tenure on those. But he's kind of an X factor, right? Like, does he actually take that step forward? And I can't remember. I think it was maybe Michael Severe we were talking to who was saying like he kind of like struggled last year at several points with deciding and committing to holes, and deciding to go through them. So does that change as he becomes more comfortable in his own skin in that position? Just to me, part of what's so frustrating is there's so many things that are going to be so many other position groups that are going to go a lot longer in determining Nebraska's final record here this season than the running backs. I specifically point to the defensive line and where things need to improve from a year ago. Certainly the offensive line, right? That's the position group that everybody's probably the most confident in right now going into this season. And if that doesn't meet expectations, everything falls apart. So, I know it's sexy because it's a skill position because of Emmett Johnson before, but man, there's other things that we could be spending more time on. And then, the Tyke Hayes thing comes out of nowhere. And we know today, learned today that he's on the roster.
The timing of it was interesting because we thought, okay, maybe Mekhi Nelson isn't going to be available.
Yep. And so, look, there were some people early that they've maybe kind of toned this back a little bit, thought there's a chance that he could start. that this is, which, I mean, I guess there's a chance that Nebraska can go beat Oregon on the road as well. Look, like I think that's like a ridiculously unfair expectation to put on a guy who Coach Strohmeyer at Iowa Western thinks the world of. He was going to be their starting running back there. That obviously has to count for something. Being at Penn State and being heavily recruited by Penn State has to count for something. But the reality of the situation is he's joining the team in the middle of June.
Right.
And you think too, back to the comment that Damon made a couple of weeks ago, or not a couple of weeks, a couple of days ago, it feels like that though, about the change in the system in OTAs and how the team has been essentially doing OTAs for 4 months since the end of spring ball. He's missed out on a lot of that.
Yeah.
So how far behind is he going to be? I mean, there's just too many questions there to expect him to even contribute at a significant level.
I think if you consider Tyke Hayes right now that we officially see him on the roster, as anything more than a depth piece, at least going into the first quarter of the season, I think you're probably a little bit out of the realm of reality with it. I on top of just the points you bring up and what Damon brought up too, I don't think that was ever the case. I think it was a depth piece more than anything. And then you want to see if there's something there. And again, we started with the development conversation under EJ Barthel. Let him get under his wing, develop, see if he can crack the top 3. Can he be a rotational guy at some point by the back end of this season? That would be great. But to expect anything more than that in the first half, I think is maybe a little bit getting ahead of the skis there. All right, we're going to come back, talk a little bit more about Nebraska tomorrow. Again, awaiting some of the questions that have kind of been answered today. Also, some of the takeaways from today. A lot being talked about with some of the heavy hitters, including Dan Lanning and Ryan Day here at Big Ten Media Days, day number 2. We're back with more live from Chicago. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Feeling stiff, sore, or worn down? 42 Degrees may be able to help. Their knowledgeable team listens first and explains wellness-focused options for everyday comfort with no pressure. Learn more at 42degrees.com. Trusted by Mom.
Superior Honda of Omaha has immediate openings for highly motivated new and used car sales professionals. High volume, great benefits, incredible support. Apply online at HondaofOmaha.com or call Eric Curtis at 402-612-9126.
Dingman's Collision Center is now open in Gretna. You never plan for an accident, but you can know exactly where to go when one happens. We bring 3 decades of family-owned experience and trusted collision repair to your community. We're committed to quality workmanship, honest service, and getting you safely back on the road. Dingman's Collision Center. We'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Voted Best of Omaha 21 years in a row. Now proudly serving Gretna.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
We may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deers Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at deersford.com. Fremont's best award-winning dealership.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. We're not a chain, not a box store, but a locally owned community pharmacy that knows our customers. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, except all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
Hey, are you driving high right now? You might be, because a whole lot of people do. They say marijuana makes them a better driver, more careful, more focused. That's probably what the guy who killed a 4-year-old thought. And now, he's in prison. You see, no matter what you tell yourself, if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades. Voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
My name is Kirsty. They painted our whole house and they did some soffit work for us. I would highly recommend Kim. She is fantastic. She has a great eye for detail. Her crew was wonderful. Everything was clean when they left and it was fantastic.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now. When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
5 o'clock hour, our final hour is the Hoppy Hour, brought to you by Monolithic Brewing, 120th and Fort. Hey, don't forget to tune in to Handley and Hansen for Generational Beef Trivia every Friday at 4 p.m., brought to you by Pit Barbecue Lounge, just off of Highway 370 and 72nd. We'll pit one generation against another in a game of trivia for a chance to win a $25 gift card from Pit Barbecue Lounge. That'll be debuting next week after we return to the great state of Nebraska. This is our first day out here in Chicago, and we'll be here tomorrow as well. So today we had Pat Fitzgerald, the return of Fitz. You had the always energetic and colorful PJ Fleck, Ryan Day, all business, Dan Lanning, also not to be outdone when it comes to the energy department, but just the overall confidence, and why not for Dan Lanning. Barry Odom, who was sitting right next to us, and I'll tell you, I still don't think I'd ever want to line up in a narrow hallway against Barry Odom, who looks like he could still take on a guy or two and probably win that battle stepping over him. And then Bob Chesney. That is another one that maybe isn't getting as much conversation about, because this UCLA team is interesting. This UCLA team has some talent, and now they've made that change and have brought in Bob Chesney as their head coach, who had a chance to finally meet the media in the Big Ten on the national scale today.
You know, tonight, as we kind of get a chance to review some of the things that were said today, that's one of the people I'm most interested in. In the middle of everything we're doing here, it's hard to get over to the podium, and certainly while we're on the air, hear any of the side sessions and what's going on in those. But, you know, Chesney is somebody who we talked, I think, earlier about, okay, who could be the next Indiana, which is the question everybody's asking, regardless if you think Indiana's a unicorn or not. Everybody wants to be that, especially if you're a team that's needs to be on the upswing. And Oklahoma State, I think, certainly with the amount of players that were brought over from North Texas, represents one of those teams. UCLA kind of has to be another one, right? And especially when you draw the comparisons now, you know, Chesney and Cignetti never worked together, but they're coming from the same school. It's a similar model. And Chesney had a ton of his success at JMU, obviously made the college football playoff there. So this is, and he's got some of the same like quiet confidence about him, or maybe it's not as loud, I don't think, as Curt Cignetti can be.
I don't even think Cignetti is loud. It's just more of the
the confidence is loud.
Yeah, it's the gruff confidence. It's the Google me. It'll forever live, especially here in Big Ten Media Days lore, as one of the more memorable things a coach has said.
I mean, this is from another show earlier today. I don't want to hide behind the fact, this is Chesney, behind the fact of this, that this is a year where we're rebuilding and accepting less is what we're going to do. That's not the facts, right? Like he's setting expectations high. In the side session, he's flexing that he's got a tea time tomorrow in California with Dave Roberts, who's obviously the manager of the LA Dodgers. Mitch Sherman tweeted that out, saying that Chesney and Roberts are cut from the same cloth, according to Chesney. So, I'm super fascinated because it's not like it's a team devoid of talent. You've got Nico Iamaleava.
Can Bob Chesney steal bases in Game 4 against the Yankees, though?
It's a great question.
I don't know if he could.
If the side session was
I wanted to ask
over
him
our shoulder to the right, we maybe could have asked that. Would have been a great follow-up.
We'll ask him that one.
But again, not devoid of talent. It's just in a much tougher conference than Oklahoma State. That's why I would still lean towards Oklahoma State. If I'm picking a team that's going to pop in Indiana style this year, I would lean more towards that than UCLA because of the conference that they play in. But at the same time, that intrigue is certainly still there for the Bruins.
Why do we got to do that? And I'm not saying you're doing it and you alone, but why do we always everybody wants to see that Indiana example? And I get the Cignetti, and Chesney coming from the same school and having success.
Well, because
there.
It's a model. That's the model is you hire a successful group of 5 coach, and he brings all of those players that are already familiar with that system and his coaches over to your school and makes you competitive at the Power 4 level. That's the model people are trying to test and add data points to.
Yeah, and I still think it is going to be, and it will remain the outlier. of what Cignetti has done at Indiana. And that's why I will admit, when we do these types of events and we have a chance to be around a lot of these coaches and the players that represent them, and these are all, the high caliber players for these teams, there are certain, I think, just overall appearances, and from some of the players too. Like I told you, when Dante Moore was behind me during one of the commercial breaks, I mean, the guy is just, his presence, you're like, okay, that's a big time player right there. There's coaches that have that as well. Ryan Day, I'll admit, when he walked by, for people who remember the original Roadhouse and Patrick Swayze, when Dalton the cooler, and they would say, "I thought you'd be bigger." That's kind of how I felt with Ryan Day. Ryan Day is more striking on TV and on a sideline as far as like intimidation than he was walking by with his hotel coffee and just one of us. Curt Cignetti's a guy that I got to admit, just seeing him walk around with that confidence and given everything that he's accomplished in a short time and really doing the unthinkable and the doing the one thing that you and I and other people are trying to ask the question of, is it something that another school can duplicate, can replicate?
I mean, it's like the line in Oppenheimer, right? Until somebody builds a bigger bomb.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, we all think it's not going to happen until somebody does. Until somebody does it. That's what everybody's anticipating and waiting for. Maybe they're waiting 25 years until we see something like this again, a la Kansas State about that amount of time ago. There wasn't a national championship tied to that. But, I mean, that could be the case. I think that's fair.
I want to ask Cignetti. See, I won't call him Sig because we're not at that level.
Yep.
We're not at that level yet.
I agree.
If he sits down in front of us tomorrow, then maybe afterwards I'll refer to him as Sig. But I would like to ask him, do you realize, because I'm sure he doesn't care, but do you realize the amount of turmoil you have created with varying fan bases, including our own here in Nebraska?
Sure.
Of your example being one of just coming to a program that has been dormant, that happens to play in a Power 5 major football conference like Indiana has been dormant. It's been a basketball school, and you just completely turn its fortunes overnight and have a national championship within 2 years of your arrival. Do you realize you have set an absolutely unrealistic precedent, but you're causing all kinds of other coaches around the league and around college football even more stress because now their fans expect that.
Right. And then he'd probably give you a wry smile and a short answer.
And probably be like, well, that's their problem.
Yeah. That sounds
that's
like
why I
something
like
he
the
would
guy.
say.
That's why I like the guy. Every conference needs, again, I don't think that
every conference needs characters.
Yeah. And he's not, you got, before we had the James Franklin, I remember his first Big Ten media days. I mean, it was a spectacle. And I remember PJ Fleck's first Big Ten media days too. There's been characters, but have had little substance to them. I don't want to make it sound like PJ Fleck doesn't have substance to him.
He's got plenty.
He's built something, but at the time you're like, what is going on with this thing? Is this just a shtick here? The James Franklin thing, again, it just, I believe the term carnival barker was used at one point too, but there's just something about that confidence, that gruff sort of brood presence that he brought that I think all of us covering the Big Ten thought was that whole Google me comment was like, okay, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
no.
Everybody
here thought that was the equivalent of the Big Ten's going to have to adjust to us.
Yeah, and that's a great point.
Right? That's where everybody
went.
It's
a great point. we know how
that ended.
How one went very, very well for one guy and the other went extremely bad for that party.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had to live through that for multiple years.
We all did. We survived.
All
right, so run down the coach schedule for tomorrow.
We're all in it together.
Just to keep folks up to
tomorrow.
date here.
So obviously we've got Nebraska, but we will have the Indiana side of things with Curt Cignetti. We'll also have Maryland, Michael Locksley. That's going to be an interesting one as well. You've got what I think is going to be a very fascinating experience in Michigan, and I think for the good for Wolverine fans and Kyle Whittingham. Really interested to hear what he has to say and just his overall fit in with Michigan. I think that's a guy that's going to look like he's been there for a while when he shows up tomorrow. David Braun, hey, exciting times for Northwestern with the new stadium.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't know what else you can look at. And then, of course, Jed Fish will be going as well. That is your final day lineup.
Fish is interesting too, because I mean, That's a guy who his team's picked preseason number 7 in the media poll.
Yeah. Good spot to be.
Obviously on Nebraska's schedule, if I'm picking a game, if Nebraska's going to make the blackout game a tradition, I wonder if that'll be a question asked tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be any game, it's going to be Washington. It's about the same spot in the schedule as the USC game was last year. It's against a team that probably won't be ranked preseason, but could easily be ranked by the time they play that game at a point in the season in which Nebraska will be coming off playing Indiana, Oregon, and I don't know. I think those are the big two, Indiana and Oregon.
Those are the big ones, yep.
It's going to come at a critical juncture in the season, just like the USC game did a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very interested in Washington.
Swing game.
Very interested in that tomorrow.
Yeah. So it is a lot of intrigue, I think, in that final day here at the Big Ten Media Days. We'll be all over it as we are live from Chicago. We're going to come back, wrap things up, tell you what is on tap, both on the AM 590 WOW airwaves and what you might be checking out on your TV as we call it good here for day one for us here at Big Ten Media Days. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
On the upcoming edition of the Great Outdoor Radio Show here on AM 590 WOW, we'll give you some hot tips for your summer fishing. Special guest, Nebraska fisheries biologist Daryl Bauer. You know him. Daryl joins me, Greg Wagner, and you 9 to 10 Saturday morning here on AM 590 WOW. The Great Outdoor Radio Show is presented by Cubby's Convenience Stores, Daniel's Produce, Host Coffee, and Stoysich House of Sausage.
Hi, this is Dave Nabity. Starting August 1st, every Saturday, right here on AM 590 WOW, my show, Saturday Mornings with Dave Nabity, is the place to be. We'll cover news, politics, current events, and anything else my brain decides to conjure up. One promise, it'll be entertaining, and it'll be the right way to put your Saturday morning. Starting August 1st, join me 6 to 9 every Saturday morning right here on AM 590 WOW.
With school just around the corner, don't forget to buy Nordic Naturals DHA products. DHA is essential for normal brain and eye development, and it may help attention, behavior, and reading. And these supplements are on sale the whole month of August at no-name nutrition markets. Available in capsules, gummies, and liquid form.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Jeff Ballinger, Gorilla Car Wash, and your family has quite a history in Council Bluffs.
Jack, we've been blessed to be in business 100 years. My grandfather starting Ballinger Automotive in 1926, and Gorilla Car Wash, of course, starting 1991. So we have been blessed to be in business. We're grateful to the people in the metro area who have traded with us for so long. Yeah, we sure haven't taken it for granted.
That is quite a legacy. It's Gorilla Car Wash. Find those 8 locations, GorillaWash.com.
Think you know your stuff? You're invited to pit your knowledge against Handley or Hansen in Generational Beef Trivia. Sponsored by the Pit Barbecue Lounge. Every Friday at 4 p.m. If you're a boomer, you get to pick Gen X or Gen Z questions, while the boys will have to answer boomer questions. If you outsmart them, you'll win a $25 gift card to the Pit Barbecue Lounge, just off Highway 370 and 72nd. Generational Beef Trivia with Handley and Hansen, Fridays at 4 p.m. Brought to you by the Pit Barbecue Lounge.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
I'm Nancy, Jill of All Trades. Oh, Kim is amazing. She's on our 4th project with me. I feel like she's done my whole house. She's something different than a lot of other contractors out there. She cares, and she'll work 27 hours a day if she could. Oh, I'm just so happy with Kim and Jill of All Trades. I just keep going back. There's nothing that she can't do.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
Have you been to Deer's Farm lately?
We made may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deers Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at DeersFord.com, Fremont's best award-winning dealership.
Have you been to Deers Ford lately?
Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
Have you ever heard of lion's mane mushrooms? It's a mushroom that looks like a brain, and the supplement supports memory that may help with anxiety or depression. Also contains antioxidants and fiber that can support gut and immune health. Capsules of lion's mane are on sale all this month at both No Name Nutrition markets.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made from scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. At VRX, we take the time to get your medications organized, simplified, and tailored to you. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, except all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Controlled Comfort keeps it under control.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Hey, wrapping things up here at Big Ten Media Days here in Chicago. It is Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW. Get to what's on tap before we say goodnight for the evening. Big day tomorrow, including Nebraska. And Luke Lindenmeyer, Justin Evans, Andrew Marshall will all be here, and we are looking forward to talking to all of those folks right here on Handley and Hansen. So you'll definitely want to be checking that out. Stick with the AM 590 WOW airwaves, though, because we've got Sports Nightly coming up. Kind of a big show when you get Harper Murray and then Damon Benning.
That is a wombo combo right
so
there.
You do, yeah. You've got Harper Murray. I can't call her Harp because I don't know her.
I agree. I second that. Don't do that.
But
I'm not on.
You're very much in the volleyball world. Do they call her Harp?
No, I've never heard that. Okay. Never heard that.
I feel like if your first name is Harper, your last name is Harper, at some point you're going to go through a run where they're going to call you Harp.
It's a stretch. Move on.
Okay. I'm just saying. It is getaway day in Major League Baseball, so you got just a handful of games, including my Guardians and Reds. They will be playing on ESPN Unlimited. Do you have the unlimited package? You should.
Go Reds.
Okay. Yeah, stop that. The AL Central is just an absolute dumpster fire. Speaking of which, your Royals and Twins playing that.
Yeah, last night they lose on a walk-off 3-2 to the Twins, a triple. I saw a post today that was a joke, but it said that the Royals bullpen in the 9th inning has a 20 ERA with 102 blown saves. And then I realized that they hadn't even played that many games or lost that many games. So, but I did believe it for a second because of how bad the Royals have been late stages.
All right, I got to be a Yankees fan tonight. And taking place right here in the great city of Chicago, the White Sox are hosting the Yankees. That's actually a very big matchup. and that's going to be on Prime Video tonight. 6:40, White Sox hosting the Yankees. Cubs are at Justice's Cardinals tonight on MLB TV, also at 6:45. Then you get into some of the late games out on the coast. Astros are at the Angels, and the A's are hosting the Red Sox, and things will wrap up with the Dodgers and the Mariners, all late games.
You know,
tonight.
I could tell you, getting up when we did today to be here, I won't be staying up for that one.
No.
Nah, I'm just not going to be there.
Nope.
Hey, before we went to break, we were talking a little bit about that Washington game. Justice, you had something on that?
Yeah, I did have something on that real quick, guys. And Nick, Grant, I was doing research last night because I got a little bit of a bug thinking about, hey, what is Nebraska's record coming off of a bye? And do they play any opponents off a bye? Has there been any big runs where they have to play 2, 3, 4 opponents all coming off of that extra week of rest? Fun caveat about that Washington game, guys. Both Nebraska and Washington leading into that Halloween night contest come off of a bye week. So they'll both have the extra week of preparation going into that. Nebraska under Matt Rule after the bye week has been 3-4 in Big Ten play. So just something to keep in mind there. Double bye system all in play there. But under Matt Rule, off a bye. Nebraska 3-4. Both teams get an extra week of rest.
And since 2020, 5-9, by the way.
Yeah, and at least it's not 0-7. Because there was a time that Nebraska off a bye week was even more brutal than that. So, at least he's one away from 500. We're talking about progress, folks.
Yeah,
we're
that is
talking
something
about
to think about.
I mean, progress.
It just
here.
adds another layer to that game. I mean, we'll talk at some point about what we consider to be the linchpin game of the season. There's a great argument to be made that that's obviously one of them. I do want to bring this up too. I just saw this on Twitter. If you guys have seen or have been familiar with Freddie. World Cup Freddie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently they're coming back to the U.S. again this fall, specifically for a trip tied around college football.
It had its impression.
Oh, it certainly did.
It had its impression.
That was the best part about.
Did
the
they say
World
what
Cup.
game?
Okay,
They go to the Nebraska-Washington game?
So they're trying to build them around other cultural events.
Okay.
So see, he says in this tweet, so far we have these on our list: Oktoberfest in Helen, Georgia, which. Oktoberfest in Georgia, I've not considered that as like a great combination.
I would think you'd want to do it. Yeah, isn't October? Don't you want to do that in Germany?
Right. Well, he is German, so
why would you want? Why would you want to do that in Georgia?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Freddie. Texas State Fair, and then the Breeders' Cup in Kentucky. So there's certainly a heavy SEC flavor. I hope Freddie injects some Big Ten, the best conference.
Okay, someone needs to
plan.
enlighten me on Oktoberfest in Georgia.
I agree.
Like, I'm sure there's some amazing peach festivals that take place. I mean,
you know who would have been really good to do that? Mr. Dave Epps.
Yeah, we should be like, hey, what's going on with Oktoberfest?
Foresight.
No, we didn't see this.
If we see him tomorrow, we can ask.
Yeah, what the there's a lot of things that I'm sure would be very attractive to go to Georgia to do. Wouldn't think Oktoberfest.
I'm never thinking that. Yeah, I agree.
And this is not a segue into Tony Romo, by the way, but it can be. But I would think if you want to go to a very solid beer drinking event, and I know this is more of like the polka crowd, but I think they probably put on some mean Oktoberfest. I feel like any city in Wisconsin would do a very, very good Oktoberfest. Call me stereotyping.
That's where I would want to go.
But I just know that would be a very solid option if you're looking to Oktoberfest it in the United States of America.
So a little more information about this Oktoberfest in Georgia. It's the longest running Oktoberfest in the continental United States. Takes place in Helen, Georgia, featuring German bands, variant food, imported beers. It runs from September 10th through November 1st. Think about that time span. That's almost a whole
October
football season.
Oh yeah. So again, maybe that's part of why it's on the docket.
Well, now I know.
We've got a lot of time.
Admission is $8 to $10 daily through September. It runs Thursday through Sunday. Then October and November, it runs daily. So that's what you're looking at with the longest running Oktoberfest in the continental United States in Helen, Georgia. So, hey, maybe Freddie's got a little bit of taste. We don't know.
Yes, and the great Julie Hansen is also confirming this as well.
Oh,
that's yes.
You're throwing the great in front. Well,
she is the great. She does that.
Julie the Great.
Yes, she sent me a link right to the welcome to the official home of the 56th annual Helen Oktoberfest.
Okay,
man,
Learn something new
I
today.
shouldn't paint everybody with a certain type of brush. I would have said
I would
Wisconsin.
never have thought that. No, you can't.
You
can't knock yourself for that. I mean, who would have?
You know what? Omaha has some sneaky good Oktoberfest celebrations.
That checks out.
And the Polka Police. I don't think they're the Polka Police anymore, or at least they've changed band members. They used to have Sergeant Sauerkraut and Lieutenant Lederhosen. I don't know if. Yeah. Oh, they're fun too. It's a fun band.
That sounds like things from Clue.
It does. It
Colonel
does.
Mustard and Sergeant Sauerkraut.
Yeah. Where does he get involved?
Exactly.
And where does he rank in the hierarchy there?
You know what's great about Oktoberfest, guys? Usually you're doing that. You're celebrating while watching a bunch of college football.
That's true. Oh, that's why he's doing it. I do want to, briefly, this Tony Romo stuff is crazy. The body cam footage is also crazy. There's a lot of debate online about, him calling for a lawyer, all that sort of stuff. Let me preface my next statement with this. I would never put myself in a position to be asked to take a sobriety test, but there's some of these that I don't know if I could do sober. Like what happened?
Oh, the alphabet backwards.
Okay, that's
a trick.
the one.
It's a trick. Because
explain.
this is what I was told. If you ever get pulled over and they say, "All right, do the alphabet backwards," you're supposed to be like, "I couldn't do that if I was sober." Oh, so you're admitting that you're drunk.
Oh, okay.
So what you should say is, "Sir, I am not intoxicated, but intoxicated or not, I don't think I could do the alphabet backwards." It's a trick.
Interesting.
That's what I was told.
I would love to meet the person who can do it sober.
And
drunk,
rattle
actually,
it off.
or
Yeah.
drunk in a non-driving situation.
Yeah, like rattle it off. Like,
yeah.
You're supposed to catch him. You're supposed to call him on
Also,
the bluff.
the comment, the point where she asked him if he's had any head injuries recently,
He's
was also so funny.
He looked like it though, guys. His eyes were a little glossy. He looked like he was maybe one of those 5+
There's a lot
sack
of layers
games.
to this story. Like he was going to his grandparents. People were like, he's pretty blessed to be at the current age that he is and have his grandparents be alive. There's a lot we found out about Tony Romo. I actually wonder if this could be used. I wonder if this could be used to workshop him into actually like improving his image a little bit.
So you think Tony has now struck a chord and he's back on the good graces of all of
this
the
might work
common
out in
fan?
his favor.
Okay.
Who knows?
All right. Justice, I hope your night is better, by the way, buddy. Get that.
We're going to work
fixed.
on that.
Okay. Well,
All right.
you have a better night. Hope everybody has a great night. For Justice Rhodey and Grant Hansen, I'm Nick Handley. You've been listening to Handley and Hansen live from Big Ten Media Days. We're back at it tomorrow right here in Chicago. We'll talk to you then. Have a great night.
Stick around. Sports Nightly is coming up next. The legend